What if they replace the sugar with? That's what I'm asking. Like, I need to know, I need to see the pack, what they've replaced that sugar with, because they've rejigged their recipe. Fine. And you said you've lowered the sugar, but what is it that you're now putting into it that gives it that awkward taste? Like, you know, not that you're now telling me that it tastes good because it had X amount of sugar. So what's the new sugar levels that you're putting into it, or what's the new sweetener that you're using that I can Google and be like, okay, that's the sweetener that you're using.
Hey, what's happening, people? Welcome back to another episode of Juice and the Sauce.
Hi.
You're joined by me, Lisimba, and Nastassja.
Hi. So welcome to another episode.
How you been?
I don't even know where to start. You know, I feel so disorientated today. I don't even know why. Probably it's because of my night out yesterday. And how have I been? I've been good, you know. It's just been, I'm just extremely exhausted. I've got after yesterday, it was my friend's birthday yesterday. Mm-hmm. And I said at the beginning of this month, the month of November, I've got 5 more parties left in me before the end of this decade. Mm-hmm. One of them was done yesterday. I've got 4 more to go. You know, ain't 25 no more. Got to pace that liver, you know. But yeah, it's been good. I've been up to a lot, I think.
What's your drink, by the way?
My drink?
Yeah,
my
your
poison.
drink of choice, yeah.
Yo, in my old age, as I mature into the fine wine and the fine plum that I am, that is thee. My drink of choice recently, it's been a gin and tonic. You know, my sister's put me onto gin and tea, and it's actually changed. You know, it's changed the game for me. Okay. It's like when you start drinking when you start drinking G and T, you know you're on. You know your palate is you're becoming more mature, and your palate is becoming more refined. You know, and it's not one of those drinks that you guzzle down. It's a nice slow sip. You know what I mean? And gin is like very aromatic, and that's why I didn't like it, because it's aromatic and it tastes like flowers. I don't like stuff that tastes like flowers. Like, I like smelling them, but I don't like, you know, like some people enjoy like really fruity cakes with like a petal, like they'll say like lavender cake. Nah, fam, that's not rolling with me. Or like rose cake. No, I don't like them kind of flavors. I don't like anything that tastes floral, because it's like you're eating perfume.
I don't know or think I've ever had like a floral cake or ever.
I think they're just like, I think they're just like old English kind of style cakes, like things that smell like mad fragrant.
Interesting.
But yeah, so yeah, gin and tea really. But to be honest, I do like my rums and my cognacs. I would say like I'm a Southern Comfort girl.
Okay.
Southern Comfort with lemonade is my thing. Quite like that. Been to a whiskey club before. I can tell you I've tasted some old ass whiskeys. Whiskey's older than myself. Whiskey's older than my grandma. And this whiskey club is in Farringdon. And I went with a manager that for a company I used to work for. And he took us there. And let me tell you, like, you have like this little shot glass of whiskey, and they give you like a tumbler filled with water so you can dilate, and a pipette so you can just So a pipette just so you can just water down the whiskey, because let me tell you that these old whiskeys are strong as heck. And it was such a good experience. But I took one sip of this whiskey. I think it was like 147 years old. I remember that for facts, because I was like, whoa, I want to taste that one. And small little shot glass, and it's just like, it's not that much. It's like really kind of, I don't know, like about 15 milliliters, like about that much, even probably less. And I took one sip, and it hit me in my forehead, like really in the front of my like my forehead, like, yo, it went straight to my head. And let me tell you, I was drunk from that moment onwards. And they were like, Nastassja, you all right? And I was just like, hey. Like, and that's how strong it was. But yeah, whiskey's one of those proper old man drinks that really kind of is slow sipping kind of thing. But,
I've never got into whiskey.
really, what's your poison? Because you're from the Caribbean, you're going to be like rum. No, I'm joking. No, I'm just full of jokes today. Go on. What's
You
your
know,
poison?
on rum though, funny enough, shout out to Lawrence, rum boss,
Yeah.
on this one. He does like, I guess, rum tastings. I went to one of his rum tasting events, and there's one rum that he really liked. I think I should bring that next for
Yeah, let's do this.
flavor from the continent. We should get some
Actually,
alcohol
why don't we actually have Lawrence on for flavor of the continent
to talk about the rum.
Yeah, and talk about rums and really just get like
I'll try.
the rum connoisseur in to do his thing.
Why not? I will shout him and see if we can get him on
And
the
maybe
show.
what we'll do as well, he can give me some good rums, and what I'll do for Lawrence is make him a rum cake out of those out of the rum he gives me.
Amazing.
And I've never done rum cake before
Okay.
because I think there are that's the one thing that I never really try and seep into that market, because I really do think there are grandmas, aunties, and grandmas, aunties, mothers, grandmothers, great grandmothers who can do an absolute banger of a rum cake. And me, I don't really want them to pass that baton on to me. Like, it's too much pressure, because a good rum cake is like, I think its authenticity has to come from,
the
the
thing.
background and the heritage kind of thing. That's just my take on it, and a lot of people have asked me to do it, but I'm just not going to tread in those waters. Why? It's not broken, so why am I trying to fix it?
Do you like rum cake?
I do. I've tasted some really great ones. That there was like my aunt's friend growing up. She always used to make us a Christmas rum cake. Her one was spot on. Then I've tasted other rum cakes that just sound like they just taste like all you can taste is rum, and it's not enjoyable because it's just like you're just eating alcohol. You're not really getting the texture of the cake. So
Yeah, what you literally just said about just tasting rum
yeah.
is my only issue with rum cake. Like, so I guess certain family members, they like to, soak the cake in rum and leave it to, I guess, ferment and stuff.
Yeah.
But like when you taste it and you feel like you're biting literally into Ray and Nephew, it's just, for me, it's a bit overwhelming, right?
Yeah.
So if there's a subtle hint of rum. So you know what? The weird thing about rum, it's only as of recent, I'm starting to get an appreciation of it.
Yeah.
I never really used to like rum as much as before. I remember like one carnival, I went there with my Ray and Nephew and some Coke and mixers or whatever, and I thought, okay, yeah, just have a little bit, try to like clap off the whole bottle. Rum is one of them drinks, right? If you don't respect it, rum will knock you out for 6. Like, it's like that drink knocked me out.
Really?
Like, yeah. So like from then on, like I don't fuck with rum too much. I try and like balance of rum, but I do like rum. But I wouldn't say that's my drink of choice. You know what's really nice? A really nice combo. I haven't had this for a long time.
Yeah.
Is double arches and Red Bull. Like when I used to go like raving back in the day.
That sounds like such a college drink. Like something you drink in college. Like
it was. I guess those days that was my drink of I guess choice around then. You know what? I'm not a heavy drinker as much as I was.
Yeah.
Yeah. Once upon a time, I guess I used to drink a lot of champagne, but not so much.
Yeah.
Anymore. And I'm trying to think what else is there. There's a really nice vodka. Hold on one second. I think it's called Beluga.
Okay.
You're a vodka person?
I'm not actually. I just stick. I think I'm better with the dark drinks. Like I'm gonna go stick with my dark drinks. In saying that, I do. I've started drinking gin, and probably gin is the only lighter color tone drink that I'm good with. Vodka, not so much. Funny enough, I've got a stash.
Stash of vodka?
I have a stash of Stoli vodka.
Okay.
And Stoli vodka is like, apparently it's really, really good vodka. It's been around for like years. I was watching, what was I, Mad Men, and they were, one of the campaigns they did on Mad Men was Stolly vodka, which was hilarious. I was like, oh, I've got some Stolly.
Okay. Yeah, Beluga. That was the vodka.
Okay.
That is really smooth. Like, I recommend like trying some vodka. I really think we should get some alcohol in here.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, me and vodka don't, it always ends in a night of like proper vomiting. So
Do you like shots?
I do shots. I don't, like last night I did like 2 tequila shots and a sambuca. And I just think that just tipped me over the edge. I don't know who, my liver's just like, I don't even know who the heck you think you are right now. But yeah, I'm here.
You thought you were 19 again, right?
I always go to my age of 25 because I think 25 was the peak years of my drinking, like literally.
What about cocktails?
Cocktails I do like. Do I have a favorite cocktail?
Random
No.
question. Can you mix cocktails and cake? Is that like even a thing?
Can I mix cocktails and?
Yeah, I just saw it. Just randomly came to me. Like, you know, when you talk about alcohol infused into like cake,
I mean, I do.
is it
like,
possible?
Well, some of the flavors that I do in my cakes are like really good sellers are amaretto, Baileys, and the coconut and pineapple one. If I'm being honest, when it comes to alcohol and cakes, like I think I really stick with the ones that are going to taste really, really good. I don't like getting too frivolous with cake flavors. And it's like, there are lots of people who've asked me. I remember when I first started baking, I used to just be like, yeah, I'll do any flavor. And I stopped doing that because some of the flavors people used to come up with were just like really, really wild. Like one person wanted a pineapple and an apple cake. And I was like, in what planet does
Pineapple,
that?
apple.
Yeah, but why would you think those two fruits would taste nice together? But anyway, for me, it was just like bizarre. And even when I tasted it, I was just like, this tastes strange. But anyway.
Was it nice though?
No, it wasn't. It was strange because you get, it's weird because you would think that they would, but it was just not the right combination.
Okay.
But when it comes to like cocktail flavor cakes, people do, but I'm not really on them because I just don't like things tasting overly sweet. You know, like a popular one, like even though I do this, people do pina colada as a cake and it does work. Pineapple, coconut and rum, it does work. But what that kind of then does, like if it's kind of, it can tipple over to be too sweet. It's like I've seen people do like a strawberry daiquiri cake. For me, that sounds disgusting. Like it honestly does, because it's just kind of like strawberry daiquiri. You're drinking alcohol, you're not tasting cake. You're enjoying it because it tastes like a cocktail, but you're not enjoying the cake. Does that make sense?
I can't.
You lose the cakiness, and then it's just because you're tasting alcohol. That's the whole purpose of you liking the cake. But I actually want to eat cake. Like when I'm eating cake, I want to eat cake. I don't want to be eating cake cocktail.
Cool. So
if that makes sense, like.
Yeah, no, it makes sense. It's
Yeah.
just going back to like the rum cake example. Like obviously, like I want to taste the nature or the flavor of the cake, right? But I can't, like, just the name in itself piques my interest.
Yeah.
So I don't know. So with that though, isn't it down on the cake maker?
It is down to the cake maker, and it does depend on what you want to taste more of. And I think for me, with the alcoholic flavored cakes that I do, you really do get to taste the cake and the flavor of the alcohol, and it be like, it's a great combo of the two. And I'm very wary of that. So like my amaretto cake, like flies off, like literally amaretto cake, love it. Like, and yes, it's not for the faint hearted. And when you get to the core of that cake, you're like, ooh, girl went in with that alcohol. But it's not dredging, as in like you're all you're doing is just tasting the amaretto flavor. You can still get the cake texture, and you still get the buzz of vanilla. The aftertaste is like, after the alcohol's gone, you get the buzz and the smoothness of the vanilla and all of the other citrus flavors that I put into the cake. Same with the Baileys or the Irish cream cake. Very kind of Guinnessy kind of thing. And yeah, the coconut one, you get the coconut flavor with the pineapple. So the pina colada kind of flavors. But those are my top two kind of top three alcohol flavors. I don't really like. I've seen people do like vodka flavor, but I'm just like, does vodka even have a flavor unless you flavor it? But hey.
So you just mentioned Bailey's. Like, there's one really nice alcohol, Sanchester's rum cream.
Yeah.
My understanding is it's a Jamaican rum cream. This is some really nice stuff.
Really?
Have you had the pleasure?
No, I haven't.
Okay, so yeah, we need to get some rum.
Okay, cool.
But this would be interesting for you to try. I'd be curious to know like how you feel after tasting this, how this would fit in with like a cake and stuff like that, and how you feel about that.
Yeah, I mean, I'd like to try it. Like I said, I'm not. I've seen some like alcohol flavored cakes, but I think when it comes to cake, I am just. I would like to say I'm more clean palated. I don't really like floral flavors, so you won't find any kind of like elderflower or rose kind of cake. For me, it's just kind of like I'm eating perfume, like, and that's not what I want in my mouth.
Did you just say meat and perfume?
No, it's like I'm eating perfume, so it's not what I really want in my mouth. Sure. I really kind of like the bold vanillas and like the cinnamons and the very kind of earthy kind of flavors, and then the fruity ones. Like another great one that sells really well for me is mango and passion fruit. Mango and passion fruit is just like such a big seller. But recently, everybody's been ordering the very berry and white chocolate. Really, really been doing that one. I think I've done so many like in this past 2 weeks. It's like every other cake is that.
So all your cakes at the minute, you just like, do you even like remember the recipes? Well, I mean, do you write them down or do you just...
No, I know all of my recipes off by heart.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, I don't draw out my recipe book, which probably frustrates my mum when she's working with me because I'm just screaming numbers at her, and it's just like, she's just like, how do you keep all of these things in your mind? Like, do you not feel like, oh, like you have to write them down? And I'm just like, it's just literally programmed for me. It's like second nature. Like there's recipes, like there's the ones that I don't do often, like the banana and the carrot cakes. Those are the ones that I draw out the recipe book for. But anything just more vanilla based, it rolls off. It's in my head.
Cool. So for the fans out there, like when's the recipe book coming?
I am trying to push it. You know what? It may be even a 2021 thing. It's
2021.
Yeah, I don't know. Like maybe if we can get it out. Like I'm working on it now. To be honest, I haven't touched work on it because I've had so many other small projects that I'm trying to lift off. But it's coming together, as in we're like drawing out things and looking at what would work, what's the best concept to go for. A lot of other people have been releasing their cookbooks, which has been really, really great and exciting, that I'm purchasing. Benjamina from Great British Bake Off, she's released her cookbook that I'm really excited about. So yeah, I think it may be a 2021 thing. A 2020, I would say it'd be pushing it, but I can't deny that it won't happen in 2020, but definitely by 2021 there'll be like a cookbook. I think it's because mine is just much more, as much as it's recipes, there's also a lot of artwork going into it as well, so it shows different angles of me, so that's going to be quite exciting. That it's something I feel that you can pull out and really kind of do. I'm writing this with my mum, by the way. So it's basically in the views of mother and daughter kind of cooking. And it's really recipes that my mum does at home that are very homely. There's going to be some recipes contributed by my siblings as well. Because I think for us anyway, the heart of the family is at the cooking. Cooking brings us all together. You know, we could argue like my mum's got about like 5 different personalities along with herself, making it 6 that she has to contend with on a day-to-day basis. But what brings us all together, aside from our differences, is food, and we love coming together over food. I think this year we are definitely looking forward to Christmas. my sister had to save Christmas like last month, and it was she was playing like captain. She had to put on her cape and try to save Christmas, because there's always like before Christmas there's always kind of like a little drama that goes on, and there's one person that says, oh, I'm not coming anymore, and that was me. I was like, I ain't coming anymore. My sister was just like, yo, like don't make me have to save Christmas before Christmas has even happened. But yeah, we're looking forward to Christmas, Mum.
Yeah, Christmas is
the fact that I even had to, like, she's saving Christmas before Christmas even happens is like crazy.
Yeah, no, Christmas is it's a nice time. Obviously, you know, families coming together and stuff. But yeah, every family has their own. Like even my family, we have our own, every.
Yeah, you know what it is like Christmas is, yeah, it is that family time. But one thing I've realized is, especially like in it, what's the best way to say that? We have all, like, there's so many different personalities in families, and I think the thing is, like, sometimes I think we may feel forced to be like with all of these personalities, and you're just like, and it's because the media says like this is the time of the year, just grab everybody. But the reality is, you know, Christmas has its ups and downs, but the best part of it for me is like the food. I think the food silences all in it. Once Mum's done the cooking and she's laid out the spread, ain't nobody trying to argue over like dinner or anything. We're just eating there, munching. Then it's like Christmas movie and we're done.
So, you know, with, like, while we're on Christmas, like, when do you open your presents? Do you do this thing like you, okay, in my house?
Let's not even talk about presents in my house. That shit is a myth.
Oh, okay.
No? Okay. So, just to answer your question, we open our presents as we wake up. Ain't nobody waiting until after dinner to open presents, man. I think we've become, because we're all older, we're mad shallow about that now. We're just opening our presents and getting on with the day. And then we open our presents, cuss each other out about what we got and what we didn't get. And then afterwards, everybody's just, and then you have my nan saying, oh, Christmas is ruined now. And we're just like, typically after the presents, yeah, if someone didn't get what they wanted, it's gonna be said. And I think my nan started that trend where it was funny, like a couple of Christmas. It's not funny. It's funny now, but at the time it wasn't. Like, you know, bless my sister. She bought my nan some slippers, and this is not what my nan wanted. But I was just like, the slippers were kind of cute, innit? Mm-hmm. But my nan opened them, and it was just like her face of disappointment in seeing these slippers. And then she started just cussing my sisters, telling her, who do you think you are getting me slippers for old people? Like, who told you I wanted slippers? And I was like, wow. And then I was just like, well, I wasn't happy with my present, so I decided to voice my opinion on my present. And then my brother did, and then my mum got upset, and I was just like, but, you know, like, I'm just saying, innit? I told you to buy me a voucher. No one told you to go out and get this dress, innit?
You know...
And people listening to this, it's just like, Nastassja, you're so dread to it. Like, that's such a dread thing to do to your mum. But you know what it is like, my mum, bless my mum's heart, right? She literally will always want to buy me her kind of type of fashion. And I will always say this, I'm very difficult to buy for in terms of clothing, because my style is really kind of like, well, it's just me, innit? Like, I like to, I wear really kind of random things. I'm into, like, I don't really have a trend that I follow. I just pick things that I like, kind of thing. And my mum always tries her best to go out there and pick something really nice for me. That's in her head, that's really nice and modest for her. And I just look at her and just like, if I tell you to go out and buy a Zara voucher, why are you not following instructions for? Like, don't try it. I'm one of those people who, if I've not given you something, if I've not given you a particular thing to go out and buy, like, don't assume, because she bought this dress and I basically had something similar, but I didn't. But I am that type of person. I buy something once and then it doesn't mean that I want you to buy me a whole catalogue of those things. And I was just like, it was mad, because it was the dress I went in the shop and tried it on, and I actually didn't even like it. And even my aunt, her sister, who she was shopping with, she was like, no, Nastassja's not going to like this. Don't buy it for her. And she was like, oh, she's going to like it. And the worst thing is, like, she tried to justify the present to me so that I would like it. And I was like, for the fact that you have to justify why I should like it, I don't like it. And she was just like, you're so horrible. And I was just like, I'm not horrible, but I told you to buy me a voucher, so just buy the voucher and that. It sounds dread. Honestly, it sounds dread, but like, honestly, I'm one of those people, if I don't give you something that you should go out. To be honest, I got friends who are pretty always spot on in the gifts that they buy me. Okay. But when it comes to my family, I was just like, fam, just buy me a voucher. Ain't nobody trying. Like, don't try. Just follow, you know.
You know what's interesting is like hearing you speak. So okay. So number one for me, like in our house, our family, like when it comes to opening presents, we do it after breakfast. Like nobody's allowed to touch presents until after breakfast. But that whole on like getting presents that you don't like, for many years, I would just like, you know.
But why would you lie?
See, this is the thing. For many years, that's what I did, right? And then of recent years, I just like say that I didn't like X, Y, Z. Because otherwise, like all that happens is that it stays in the box. You don't use it. It collects dust. It's like there's no point.
And then what happens is when you don't wear it for like a couple of months, my people are asking you, oh, but you don't wear that thing that I bought you. And you're just like, in your head, you're like, fam, I don't even like it. You know, you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that's why I'm very vocal about if you buy me a present and I just tell you, babes, I don't like it. And they're just like, and my family take offense to it. But I'm just like, at least you know that I don't like it and I'm not lying to you.
Yeah, I think it.
So, I mean, I have to say, like, probably the way I broke it down to my mum, like, she was a bit like, you're being hard. But I'm just like, yo.
So for me, it's a couple of things. One, I now definitely more vocal if I don't like a particular present. But at the same time, as I've grown older, I expect less. Like if I don't actually get any presents, I'm not
even gonna lie. Don't expect less.
Really?
No.
If I don't get the presents,
I'm not even gonna lie. This is where my mum says I have been so spoiled all of my life, and my grandmother like spoiled me whilst growing up. I don't expect less. I expect you to go hard, fam. You know why I expect you to go hard? When I get presents for people, it comes with a lot of thought. I do a mad thought. Even if you ask anybody in my family, I am very thoughtful. Even my friends know I am very, very thoughtful. When I go for presents for people, I'm not one of those people who just pick up, oh, I think she's going to like this. I will literally, like right now we've got Secret Santa in our family, right? Because there's so many of us, like we just say everybody gets 2 presents each, which is a fair bout. You know, I will literally, I hold this person that I'm getting a present from, giving a present to. I will literally do a case study on them. I will see the things that they're doing, see the things that they're picking out. I'll even make that conscious thing of pretending to say, oh, like, let's go shopping or something, or let me spend a day with a person just to see what they're into so I can nail their present to the T. And I'm one of those people who I just don't give you that one present. I'll give you extra. Not because I'm trying to win brownie points, because I'm just like, oh, this would match with you and this would match for you. So when you open your present, your face is gleaming because I've not just gone through the process of just getting you any old thing. I've got you something that actually has meaning, that you can actually hold and go, raw, you actually thought about this. This is nice. When it comes to my presents, fam, people are just trying to, I think it's just like general sabotage. And I'm just like, no, you see, this is why, like, when it comes to presents with my family, I will make it a point. You guys got to go hard because, like, the things I do, like, the things I just do for you, just enjoy. I know you don't give to receive, but let me tell you, sometimes I'm just like, fam, you need to be going hard on my presents, innit? Like, just go hard.
So
just go hard for me in it. One time, I'm just asking someone to go hard for me in it. Like, bottom line, this is just towards my family though. They know this. Like when it comes to me and my family, they know. Like Nastassja, that girl. Like even right now, whoever's got me her Secret Santa, they're quaking in their boots because they're just like, what the heck am I gonna get this girl? But like I said, in recent years, I've just made it really easy. I'll tell them the shops that I want vouchers from, and just and in one of those shops, I'm cool.
I was just wondering, is this like a warning to...
I'm firing shots, fam. This goes out to my family, you know. This is firing shot, I'm joking. No, this isn't even warning shots to my family, but deep down they do know it is. They actually know sometimes, like when I open my mouth sometimes, especially when it comes to Christmas, like they are actually quaking in their boots. Like I had one auntie say, like when she had me for Secret Santa, she was having cold sweats.
Really?
Yeah. But
That's
bless
how you
her.
got people shook.
No, it was so funny because she went out of her way. It was the time when Rihanna's Pumas dropped, right?
Okay.
And so I said, I obviously, I think I was saying it as a joke. It was, from my perspective, it was a joke because there was a lot of LOLs and I was laughing while saying it, but she took it on a mad serious flex, yeah? So I remember I wanted the Fenty Pumas in a white, and, sorry, I got a burp. Sorry. It was an internal burp, sorry. She wanted I wanted the Fenty Puma, and they kept on selling out. And bless this woman's cotton socks, right? I remember when I must have sent a dropped a message in our group chat, and I was like, the Fenty Pumas are dropping. I better get them in a size 6. I'm never talking to anybody in this family again. I said some wild things, but it was all from a place of a joke, right? Bless my auntie, she must have stayed up until like about midnight. Yeah, because they dropped like some ridiculous midnight, 1 o'clock in the morning. And she was like, she's never ordered something so fast in her life. So imagine this woman has gone through all of the trouble. She finally got a pair, because she finally grabbed the pair because she had missed all of the other slots. But unbeknownst to her, I'd already purchased these trainers anyway, and they were sitting under my bed. So come Christmas Day now, we're all opening our presents. Like, in these times, I've dropped plenty of other stuff. So I've said in the group that, oh, no, I don't want the Pumas anymore. I then said I wanted, what did I want? I wanted a Polaroid camera, yeah. I wanted this particular model of a Polaroid camera. So Christmas Day has come. I'm excited thinking I've got the Polaroid camera.
Okay.
I opened the box and it was like the Fenty Pumas in white. And I was just like, I've got these already. And my aunt was just like, no, you don't. And I was like, fam, what do you think I'm wearing on my feet, though? Like, I was actually wearing them on that day as well. And I was just like, and then I just put the box to the side. And everybody's like, you're so ungrateful. And I was just like, I'm not ungrateful. I just said, like, do you have the receipt and I can return them? And then she was like, do you know how long it took me? And she was like on the verge of a breakdown. I was like, I looked at her and I was like, fam, it's not that deep. And I was like, it's cool. I can just return mine then. She's like, but you've worn them. And I was just like, yeah, but but do you have the receipt? And she was just like, and from that day, everybody said I was ungrateful. So these days I was just like,
so wait, can you see where they're coming from though?
Yeah, I can see where they're coming from.
Okay.
I ain't got nothing to say, but like sometimes
Okay.
you just need to give my family heat in it.
Okay.
But there are years that I've gone without a present and I've just sat there. Like, there was one year that nobody bought me a present. Everybody else got like mad amount of present. And then you know what their excuse was? Oh, I thought somebody else was going to buy you one. They all said, oh, I thought this person was buying you one. So from that day, I thought to myself, these people you disregarded me in so many ways, yeah. So I don't even care about the fuss that I kick up. But these years, these times, I just keep it calm in it.
So,
This is just like, Nastassja, you sound like a monster when it comes to Christmas.
It's not even
I'm not even a monster. It's just like in past years when you've never I think the year that I didn't receive anything and I went out of my way and bought everybody a present and I got like absolutely nothing. And then my mum was trying to, once again, she tried to justify the reason why I should be happy on that Christmas. I looked at her and thought, you're an enemy of my progress. I love my mum, but at that moment, I just thought to myself, why are you even trying to justify why I should be happy right now? But do you get where I'm coming from?
Yeah, I get. Okay, cool. The reason why I guess I'm pausing and stuttering.
You're trying to digest what I'm saying.
Partly trying to digest, but also at the same time, like how do I put this? I don't look. Every like family has their own like dynamic.
Everybody has their own dynamic.
Do you know what I mean?
And I'm only giving you snapshots, like literally sound bites of like my family dynamics when it comes to Christmas. Like,
sure. So when I have those snapshots, it's like it's not my place to judge, comment, have opinions. That's your family, and you guys have got love there. And
the love is real. Let me tell you one thing, regardless of the way we act towards each other during Christmas, it is kind of just like sometimes it's like I do have to stand back sometimes, take a step back and go, Nastassja, Christmas is actually making you act a fool right about all over one day. Literally. But I talk about this and I'm laughing because when I think back at these times, it's actually really funny. Like when you're in the moment, and it's the fact that like seeing different people getting heated over their Christmas presents is absolute, is hilarious. But I mean, this year we're striding through. We're trying to do the Secret Santa thing. Like hopefully it will be easy. I know. I can't tell. You know what? After Christmas, I'll tell you how it went down. Innit? Sure.
On that, so what it just made me think about when you're speaking about that is part of that is why some of the reason why I guess I don't have much expectations for like presents. There's been so many years when we've got socks, pajamas, books.
I mean, I've got some mad stories about some of the gifts that people get for Christmas. I'm just like,
but being so like when you're so disappointed as a kid, right? When you're like as a kid, like Christmas is everything you're looking for. And when you tear it open and you see some book, and look, if you're into books, that's cool, but I'd rather have got like a game or something like that I wanted to enjoy, and you realize that like you're miserable, you're a kid, you can't even go and buy something for yourself. I guess that kind of, I don't know, trained me to have like very little expectation. So I'm really comfortable with, you see what you're saying about like doing and going all out for people, getting gifts. Like I actually love like similar to what you're saying, like instead of getting like one big present, getting like lots of little things. But if I honestly give and I don't get anything back, I'm super cool, super happy with that.
Well, that's really great for you, listen, but I really love that. But like someone like, have I been spoiled? Like possibly like in growing up, my grandmother probably did spoil me a lot when it came to Christmas. But I think, I have like high expectations for I like literally for my family. I give them the expectations, they've got high. I have very high expectations with what they're going to pull out the bag, because I pull out the bag a lot of great things for them. So when I see like, yo, you're not even going in hard for me, and I remember the one year that I didn't go in hard for everyone. Everybody was like, literally, you could see the sadness in everybody's face, and they were just like, you didn't even try this year. And I was like, oh, I didn't try this year. You see how it feels when you don't try. Yeah. But I mean, I'm petty like that sometimes, but I'm trying to improve my petty ways, in my family situation. Honestly, but it all comes with, I laugh at it because it's just kind of mad crazy how like Christmas is one of those things that like, even when me and my sister talk about Christmas, we're all kind of quaking in our boots. They're just like, Christmas, man, Christmas, uniting people at Christmas, But yeah, I mean, this year we're going to my mum's house up in Donny because she lives in Yorkshire. We're going up there for Christmas. And she's just going to be chilled out, innit? Like, she said she's going to throw it down with her Christmas spread. To be honest, I look forward to my mum's Christmas breakfast, not the actual dinner, because the breakfast spread is like major. Christmas breakfast is like mad in our house. Like literally, my mum puts on the maddest spread. Her fruit salads are dope, By the time we get to dinner, she does a very minimal dinner because she's like, the breakfast has been so good. So that's what I'm looking forward to. And I'm looking forward to receiving my voucher. And it better just be on point, innit? Shots fired to the person who's got my name in Secret Santa, innit?
I think this is a good opportunity to segue into the starters of the menu today for today's show. So what is on the menu today? So for the starters, we've got 3 options. Which one would you like to start with?
I want to start with the Michael Dapper. I always Yeah.
I think that's how you pronounce it. Michael Dapper.
Michael Dapper, love his comedy sketch. I love his characters. On his Twitter, he's got this. He did this tweet of it's when the bill comes at your birthday dinner. Now, let me tell you something. Like, going out with friends for a dinner birthday. I mean, I've been in so many situations where it's just like, fam, we all ate, we all enjoyed. And this tweet, if you've not seen it, basically, it's called "When the Bill Comes at Your Dinner, at Your Birthday Dinner," and all of his characters. It's him who plays different characters at the dinner table. So you got the guy that tells you that he only had like a starter, so he's only paying for a starter. You've got the friend that pretends that I got to make a phone call, like I just need to go to the bathroom, innit? Like, let me get out. Then you've got the one that's being reasonable, saying, everybody, let's just split the bill. Then you've got one that says, I'm only paying for this and this. Then what's the other character?
I think you covered
all of the characters?
Yeah, I think. Yeah,
and then you've got the one person, I think the last character, maybe there's about 4 or 5, one character that just says, you know what, I'm just going to settle the bill on it.
Yeah, I think you covered all of them.
And for me, when I go out with dinner with my girls, like, look, we just order food and drink and we split the bill at the end. If it's the person, whoever's birthday it is, they don't pay. We split it amongst ourselves. And it's so funny because there was one situation. When they hear this, they're probably going to realize there was one situation, right?
You can use random names.
Okay, I'm gonna. So it was Patricia's birthday. These aren't the exact names of my friends, like to hide the truth. But they know. They'll probably, if they listen to this, they'll know the situation. So we went out for Patricia's birthday, right? And Patricia brought along one of her work friends or one of her friends. And it's so difficult. Sometimes what we say is like, when there's a new person being brought into the girl group situation, let them know about how we roll when it comes to dinner, like birthday dinners, innit? So I'm not sure if Patricia had literally clued up her friend on what wagwan, innit? So we're all ordering drinks, we're ordering cocktails, we're ordering, we order starters, we order our mains. We didn't order dessert because I bought like cake. I think, did I bring cake on that occasion? I know I did bring a cake on that occasion. So anyway, after we finished eating and everything, the bill comes in and this girl starts doing mental gymnastics. She was just like, the bill comes in, we've subtracted, Patricia ain't paying for her birthday, innit? So us girls are covering her birthday and, the bill comes and then let's just say the bill comes to about like, I think it was like £70 each or something like that. Yeah. And then Patricia's friends starts going, I only had the pad thai. So I'm just going to cover the pad thai because the pad thai was £20 and that's how much I'm paying. So we're all looking at her going, Patricia, Patricia's friend, like, just because you had the pad thai and you had a glass of water, fam, like, it's Patricia's birthday. We're covering Patricia's part. And then she's like, oh, but I didn't have any alcohol, though. I didn't have this. I didn't have that. And we all start looking at each other and we're just like, fam, this is why we don't bring new people into this situation because y'all new people don't know how to behave like y'all. And then Patricia was started saying, oh, don't worry, I'll cover mine. We were like, no, Patricia, it's your birthday. You're here to enjoy. And so what we ended up doing is, because like we couldn't really be asked with her and we're just like, this was one time only, we're gonna erase the fact that you came and probably the next time you come we're just gonna not include you into our just you do you, boo. So yeah, we just all paid a little bit extra instead, and it was just really complicated, like. And we've got this rule, like like we said, when it's anybody's girls, you know, any of our birthday and we're going out, we're gonna divide it amongst ourselves, and whoever's birthday it is shouldn't really pay because it's your birthday, fam. We're all out to enjoy and celebrate you. But it always gets into this. It's so funny when people do these mental gymnastics at the dinner table. Like, I didn't eat this. I get it. Sometimes it's like when you go out, you just want to pay for what you've eaten, and that's about it. But it's kind of just that thing, especially it's like if you order a bottle of wine at the table and everybody's drinking the wine and someone said, but I didn't get a sip of the wine. Well, sorry, you were too slow, innit?
Yeah, no, look,
I just think it's just easier, like when you just say 50-50, because it's an experience. Like for me, when you go out to eat, it's not just about the food, it's, you know, it's the experience. You're out, you're all eating. I mean, if you just want to pay for your bill, then, you know, it's that long thing. I mean, I've got another group of girls that are very bent on that when we go out, they are paying for what they've eaten. They're not trying to do no 50-50. If you're eating £100, you eat your £100 and I'm going to pay my £20. That's how it is. Other friends, we're just like, we're all out, we're all going to dip and eat. We just order a load of food and we just share, and we're cool with it.
So for me, like, I can definitely relate because I've been in that situation. Man,
we've all been in that situation. Like, it's mad.
And I think that, like, for me, it's like, which group of friends am I with, right?
Yeah.
Because I do have like a group of friends where it's like we just split it, and then you even pay a bit extra because you got a tip as well, right?
Yeah.
And then also it's the person whose birthday it is, they shouldn't pay, right? You're taking them out and celebrating and stuff, right? But I've been there in a situation where like it's been like a loved one's birthday, everybody's all come out, we're all celebrating, right? And then the bill comes at the end of the day. Like the plan is everybody's like
paying. Yeah, I mean, I remember a situation in a family dinner like that. But yeah.
So yeah, like in this situation, everyone was meant to split the bill, and then we were gonna like, that what am I talking about? Split the bill, right? So it's like she doesn't have to pay. So when it comes up to end, we're like a couple hundred short or something like that.
Yeah, which
makes no sense. Yeah. And when you ask everybody, put in my share. Obviously, me as the boyfriend, I have to make up the difference. But it's just like, it is what it is. So there's been situations though, right? I can't lie, right? Where like, depending on like who you're with, right? Mm. When you're with people that are like, oh, let's split the bill, right? Mm. And then you go out and you eat like, I don't know, just like rice and a little bit of chicken or something like that, right? Then when you see that person say, yeah, I'll take a lobster, 2 glasses of champagne,
I mean, I get it from that perspective, yeah. When someone's literally trying to do baller lifestyle on your credit card, you know what I mean? I think for me, when it comes to that, when I see someone doing that baller lifestyle, I'm very, very good at going, yo, make sure you know that's on your bill, innit?
So this is what I mean.
So I'm very like that when I see someone rolling out extravagant, when you know that person's being senseless because they think that the concept is going to be like, I'm ordering like this like $50-$60 like steak, or, you know, and I know that it's going to, no fam, do your baller lifestyle on your credit card and know about that, innit? Like,
yeah, no, 100%.
You know, I'm not saying you have to be cheapskate on the menu, but if we're in a situation where we know like, yo, we're going to be spending, yeah, but when you see one of your friends, there's always that one person that thinks that they can get away with that. But I'm very good at pointing that out, to be quite fair.
Yeah, no, 100%. See, those situations, it's like you're not. There's a little code, just like unspoken like rules that like we're all eating evenly. Look, cool. If you get like a couple more cocktails than me, I'm not even watching that, right? Yeah. But there's some people that are just blatantly doing like, lobster and give me a bottle. Do you know what I mean? It's like, whoa, okay. So in that situation, I will either eat up. Yeah. It's like, oh, you do it. I'm doing lobster too, and then it's evens out, or I'll have to say, okay, you've got that. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Also, what's interesting about this like a whole birthday thing, I experienced this like when I went over to Ghana, and I saw like, so it'd be interesting to see, I guess, what the comments of other people say, right? But what I experienced in there, right, versus like here, right? Mm. You know when you have a birthday, right? It's like, hey guys, let's all go out for my birthday, and like everybody chips in and stuff, right? there it's like, oh, cool, let's all go out for my birthday. A birthday treats people to come to their birthday, and they cover everybody.
Okay, so the birthday person is the one that picks up the bill.
Well, they pick it up because it's almost like saying like, I want you to come enjoy with me. This is my birthday. This is my celebration. Come and enjoy. And I kind of enjoy that. I kind of just enjoy
I'm
this
not
giving
gonna
thing.
lie. To be honest, both concepts make sense. Like your birthday, your invitation, it's on you, B. But the other thing is like if you're from another, I think from the UK culture here, it's kind of just like it's your day. You're just coming into the world, so we're gonna pick up that bill for you and make you enjoy your day. Make that much more sweeter for you. But I get it in different parts of the world. It's always seen differently, kind of thing. It's like going to like if someone says like if I'm hosting a birthday party, I know I'm covering food and drink in it. But I've been to birthday parties where you have to pay for the alcohol, and I'm just like, what is this? I bring my own bottle. It's cool.
So that's interesting. So I've been to like 9 times out of 10, because I'm trying to remember if there's a time where I haven't done it, but every time I go to like a party that I don't actually know the person, right? Yeah. Like I've been invited or I always bring a bottle with me. I just think it's kind of courtesy, but like so many people go to like a birthday party like empty-handed. I just don't think that's cool.
They just come to eat. They've come to enjoy. But yeah, that whole kind of birthday, that whole kind of like friends, the dinner party guests is hilarious. But moving swiftly on. Yeah, and if you've got any funny stories about going to birthdays and splitting the bill, restaurant birthdays, yeah, let us know.
Yeah, please do hit us up in those comments. So for the next flavour, no, it's not flavour from the content, it's starter.
For the next starter, we're talking about basically the guy behind Hot Ones. Now, this is something I want to say, disclaimer, I'm not the biggest kind of YouTube person. I'm very old school, as in I watch, I like to watch TV and anything that literally comes onto mainstream life. And YouTube, because I don't have a TV, I've started watching more kind of YouTube channels and programs and stuff. And Lisimba put me onto Hot Ones. I think the most famous episode currently is the Idris Elba one, where he was eating, is it the Worcester sauce?
I don't know, some mad hot sauce, but I'm not sure.
Hot sauce, but if you haven't seen the whole concept of Hot Ones, if you've not seen it, the host, I think
Sean Evans. I was about to call him Steve Evans, like Steve Evans. Sean Evans interviews a celebrity or any
kind of guest, whilst eating hot wings. And basically, the hot wings goes up in heat with each question question kind of thing.
So basically, they have lots of different wings, lots of different like hot sauces and stuff, and the intensity of the hot sauce increases as the conversation moves on, but not necessarily the questions.
Yeah. It's not question based; it's more of a conversation, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's really, it's absolutely hilarious. The concept is just a really, really simple, really cool concept. Just reading about like Hot Ones and, you know, how it was developed in like the era where media was coming more digitalized. So the whole of the YouTube, the rise of the YouTuber and home videos and stuff started appearing. And now, you know, Hot Ones is like a really, really firm favorite. I think they've got weekly episodes, if I'm not correct, that comes out every Thursday. And yeah, it's just really hilarious how like people are just like trying to talk and eat hot sauce. Have hot wings at the same time is incredible. But yeah, it's gained such a massive following on YouTube. And just looking at what's come out of Hot Ones since it started, I mean, they've developed their own hot sauce, which is called Hot Ones, if I'm correct.
I think so.
It's called Hot Ones. And just their facts about like the different peppers. So one of the things that I was very, very intrigued with is they now like literally grow their own peppers, and they've got 246 different types of peppers, and it takes them 12 years for them to know whether a pepper is good for a hot sauce or not. But minimum, they can start testing it within 4 years. And within that 246, did I say 246 or 247? Within that range of peppers, 137 of them are crossbreeds, like crazy. So they've got their own hot sauce, and that hot sauce in 2018 made $7 million.
$7 million, yeah.
In revenue, like crazy.
Yeah, no, it's a lot of money. So a lot of this, I guess, is born out of our article that was written over on The Verge.
Yeah.
I'll try and link that up. So just to build on what you were saying, for anybody who doesn't know, like Hot Ones falls under First We Feast. And if anybody doesn't know what First We Feast is, that's a brand that's a part of like the Complex. And if people are not sure what Complex is, there's a huge event called Complex Con. It just happened, I think, last week or the week before. Where people get together. It's like a sneaker event, a culture event.
Yeah.
Over in the States, and they got a section that they dedicated just like for like food stalls and stuff. Which is part of their whole food. What did I just say?
We Feast, is it called?
First We Feast.
First We Feast.
Part of that whole branding. And what I find amazing, like for that First We Feast and like the Hot Ones thing, it's they're prepared to just like experiment with different ways of creating content around food. And it's just that experiment that led to this.
Yeah.
It was just a trial, just to see how it went, and it's just something that's just perpetuated. And it's just amazing just to see what can be born out of just consistency
And not being afraid to try something new.
Yeah,
and
100%.
really just going with the flow. And I think one of the things that I loved about this article or the story about Hot Ones is how they just kept consistent. And I think it was in the article, if I'm not mistaken, they said it was in season 2, episode 8, where they found their formula, the right formula that worked, and that was going to literally perpetuate like the program, the whole Hot Ones program. And that's when it was kind of like the real kind of like stable kind of, they've got the recipe and they know how to do it. So I think taking away from that, and especially us doing this new podcast, it just really kind of, that resonated with me on such a high level of being like, in the beginning, you're going to try so many different formulas of something. And it's when that, there's always going to be that one moment where you get after all of the trials and errors, that you will get your right formula and you're going to roll with it, and it will just propel itself. And that's what Hot Ones did. It was just their intensity. And there's something else, like at the end of the article, they also talk about, I think one of the people behind the scenes, I'm not sure if it's Complex, I don't want to get that info wrong, but somebody behind the scenes wanted them to actually do a 5-minute show. And they were just like, 5 minutes? Like, that's not enough. And then they were like, maybe, and they were like, they wanted to do, what was it, a 7-minute? I think they said something to do with 7 minutes. They wanted to then make it into 7 minutes. But then it ended up being, they walked away from, I think it was more of a contract for 5, like with that contract. And then they went on and said, no, they don't want to do that. They want to make it into 22 minutes. And so from that, they were just like, they were so happy that they stood firm and didn't want to do like a 5-minute show, because they felt like it deserved longer and more. And, even how big it is now, they literally kept the production level so low. They started off with just a black background, with a table, with the sauces all lined up, and you've got your presenter, you've got your guests and your hot wings, and then literally that's it. And they were just like, just having that simplicity and still being so authentic to the original thing. Now, even like 4 years on, they've made so much money from it and been able to keep it that simple. And the best thing about it is like, they can travel with that. They can go anywhere across the world and film, because their production levels are so low but so effective. And that's something I took away from that as well, that, you know, you don't need to, I know, like, especially us filming this on YouTube, you always like, one of my friends even recently said, oh, you should up the production level. And I'm just like, this is our authentic self. Like, first of all, like, I watched one episode, I was like, I look like a dumpling. Like, what is going on? And it's just like, okay, if I'm gonna look like a dumpling for a while, I gotta look like a sweet dumpling right here. But I think for me,
sugar
when
dumpling.
I'm a sweet sugar dumpling that I am. I think for me, what I really love watching on YouTube, just taking it off into a tangent, is I like watching authenticity. I don't really like watching high production stuff because it feels like it's just like, it's slightly, not that it's a facade, but there's so many, it's just like, I'm not seeing the real, you're hiding behind too many layers. But when I see the raw and the gritty stuff, which is just really simple, it's easy to resonate, you know, you get locked in, you know what's you don't know what's going to happen, but the attention to the detail is more in what the guest is saying and like the different types of sources, rather than it being, oh my gosh, there's this going on in this background, then there's going to be a midsection of this. For some shows it works, but it's those authentic, really kind of simple shows that really lock in and have that cult viewing because it's straight to the point.
No, 100%. I think there's something about like YouTube that, with, I guess, lower production values, make it a lot more relatable, or just because there's so much like junk out there, or like people lying, that people, I feel, are looking for ways to like cut through the noise and find people that actually are authentic and telling like real stories. They're just real people. It's funny. So I was actually listening to a podcast today by Tyler Babin. His podcast is Tuesday Morning Coffee with Babin, and he was talking about, because he used to work for a media company, he's a creative and stuff, and he was talking about like how when you make something with high production, because he's like a filmmaker, right? People actually tune out. Versus when you just pick up your phone and snap or da 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 da. I mean, he said something about like one dude shared a half-eaten pizza, and people are like, oh, that looks tasty. Where is that? Versus like making a cool picture, people wouldn't comment.
I can totally relate, because I mean, on my IG, I do stories, and half the time I, no makeup, like with my occasional like breakouts, like literally just with my headscarf, and I'm just talking. And it's just so funny how like people are just like, my sisters will send me an occasional message going, girl, you're so ghetto in your gown. Like, look at you, like literally. But the fact is, people love that, and I even said people have just been like, do IGTV. And I'm just like, yo, that means the production levels have to go up. Ain't nobody got time to be putting on makeup, putting my hair on fleek. And they're like, no. We love seeing you in your raw, authentic state because it's relatable. And that's the thing. I think in a world full of so much noise, we are just trying to, the authenticity just cuts through it, because I think there is so many, I think in this day and age, there being so much noise, you just want that one piece of silence, and that one piece of silence is the authenticity from that person, because anybody can kind of dress up and sell you fake anytime.
100%.
And when you're just seeing like maybe your favorite YouTuber or your favorite IG person, it's like there's so many, not taken away from the beautiful IG models out there. It's like sometimes I'm just like, boy, I can never get to I've got so much work to do. Like I can just about like look at myself in the mirror sometimes and put on a lipstick, So you just want to know that there is other people out there that have the same life struggles as you. And it's like, wow, this person's actually real. Like you are real. And there's so many people like, when authenticity and just being yourself sells. And that's one thing I love about the real ones. It's just, you're not catching your celebrity in, this is just them raw ragged, and they're eating, you don't know what they're going to say after they're eating these eating these wings. They could even stop after 3. They're just like, you know what, I'm done. You know what I mean? I'm done. Like, now this is over. So it's very interesting. It's just a very simple concept, but so authentic, so straight to the point, and it's actually really enjoyable to watch. So I would say if anybody hasn't seen it, hot ones where Idris Elba's famous memes came in when he was eating the hot wings. Really tune into it, watch it. There's a whole load of celebrities who've been on there.
Yeah, there's lots of people. Two things I wanted to touch on, just to like, I guess, kind of bring some value to the audience, is number one, I think that with what we're seeing with, like, you know, Instagram already in Australia removing like like counts, and I understand that like in America they're going to start that real soon.
And just to cut in on there, Canada, they've also removed the likes in Canada as well. So Canadian people have been living without likes, so Australian people. And next it's going to be the US market.
There you go. And it won't be long before it's coming to the UK. Although, like, you know, we're speaking about a YouTube show, I just think that it's a sign of a time to experiment with content.
Yeah.
The reason why I say that is that, you know, I'm guilty of doing this as well, like making content for the machine.
Yeah.
For these platforms that we know are going to get likes. But at the same time, it does mean at certain times it could stifle our creativity, and perhaps we might not be willing to experiment on something that could be the next best thing, but we missed it because we're making content just for the machine.
I think, you know what, like a lot of just to touch on this whole kind of like Instagram taking away likes, like if I'm being honest, like some of the comments I've seen on people just like, oh, but like if I, you know, like it's my Instagram is my job. Instagram, it's part of your job. I think what we're going to definitely see with the removal of likes is a new wave of creatives. Like really, I think it's more of an opportunity. People are seeing it like, oh, Instagram doesn't want my business to grow. No. Instagram is just an enabler of your business. And I think people have put so much of their, you know, 100% into Instagram is what's going to make me. Removing the likes is going to literally, and I personally think it's a great idea, to be honest, because some people, you know, there was one video of a girl that I watched crying because Instagram had removed like 10,000 followers because Instagram do this because sometimes there's just a lot of bots, bots on Instagram and stuff, and the bots are just like whether they're fake likes, fake followers, and and she was like in bits and pieces, and she was just like now her following, she works so hard to get 10 million people on, like all of these millions of people on board. And I honestly could sympathize with her because yes, it is like a business that she's put her heart and soul into it. But the fact that she then was just like, her likes are going to go down and this is going to go down. That's where I felt it was very unhealthy that we all like looking at these likes as in, yes, I understand that likes, after a certain number of likes, Instagram are paying you and blah, blah, blah. But it's kind of just like, okay, let's take away the fact that if Instagram wasn't there, you would actually, I'm not saying go out there and get a normal job, but there has been people, without Instagram, there's been a lot of companies that have been born without it. You know what I mean? So I think it's going to, for me, I think it's about now you being creative and you riding this new wave, because it's going to, not having likes is going to then signify a new era, a new generation of creatives who are going to come in and ride the waves. And really when Instagram started, I'm sure there were, I think there was no likes. Was there likes when it's first started? I can't remember. I'm trying to remember when the first time I joined Instagram, whether there was likes. And I don't know if it was just more of those apps where you kind of just I went onto it it was like a moving Pinterest board. So for me, it was just like for more inspiration and really great photography and stuff like that. Whereas now it's been filtered into kind of like, now it's like ads every, you know, it's like influencing, which is great because it's given me awareness to like brands that I wouldn't really be aware to. But I think the whole culture of likes and people, even today on the bus, like I got on the bus and I was just looking around and everybody was literally scrolling through Instagram. Everybody's scrolling, liking. It's just like, oh God, like this is the generation that we've turned into. I don't hate technology. I think technology is a beautiful thing, but I think it's where we now have an unhealthy relationship with it, and it's like we rely on it too much. Like the reliance is like, this is my life. Whereas if I think because I grew up in a time where there wasn't mobile phones. And I remember that you had to physically go and see someone, or you had to physically leave your house to go and experience something. I mean, I appreciate both sides of those coins, that you can experience something through your phone and that. But there is also, like, I've noticed that the unhealthy culture that also comes with it. And I'm not excluding myself from that. So that's why even for me, sometimes I literally take a break from my phone. Like, I won't answer, I won't switch my phone off, but I'll have time away from it just to digest real life.
Interesting. I'll be honest, like, on the whole, like, unhealthy, taking time outs, like breaks from social media, I'm like the complete reverse, like complete opposite.
Really? Like,
Well, I just kind of feel that, as time moves on, like, we're only embracing more technology. It's only become more embedded in us. Like, Elon Musk has developed like a new company which is going to have like implants in us to basically speed up our interaction with technology, because of like AI and artificial intelligence is advancing so much. In order for us to be able to compete, like, the way we interact with technology has to become quicker and more advanced. So if we take breaks from that, like, we're gonna lose to somebody else that's spending more time with these technologies.
I mean, honestly, I'm not against like technology whatsoever. Okay. I just think that sometimes that our the way we rely on it, like, it becomes like such a heavy crutch. That we actually forget that us as human beings, like, we are creating this, and that means that we have more, like, the intelligence that we have just in general, that there are so many things that we can do without it. If that makes sense, like, have I actually put that across right?
So, cool. I think there are, but I kind of think this is just an extension of us. It allows us to, and it's an enabler.
Agree. It's an extension of like the human mind and the human thing, but it's just like, for me, okay, like, one thing I do feel like it's crippling is like, I suppose because I come from the old school, like, something basic like handwriting. I mean, I've seen some handwriting and I'm just like, man, like, I know people are going to be like, yeah, but handwriting doesn't really matter anymore, like, because you can just type stuff and send it and nobody cares about your handwriting. Like I said, I'm just old school like that. And sometimes I look at people's handwriting. Just like, I'm not judging you, but I'm just like...
Yeah, mine looks like I wrote with my left foot, kind of thing. So
I'm not gonna lie, there was one guy that I used to work with, like, bless this guy, right? I'm not gonna say, and we're gonna call him Donovan, right?
Donovan.
Like, I worked with this guy called Donovan.
Okay.
And like quite a few years ago, like quite a long time. Let me tell you, one day, like, Donovan I was working as a office administrator, and he wanted me to book some stuff for him. And I was just like, he was like, oh, give me a piece of paper, I'll write down the address where it has to go to. So he gave him the piece of paper, the pen, and Donovan wrote the address and the contact details of where this parcel had to go and any other info that I needed. Let me tell you, big Donovan at his big age, writing like a 7-year-old, like, literally didn't even pass for a 7-year-old, a 6-year-old. Let me tell you, the words were floating, like, it was lined paper, and the words, the letters were floating off the line. It wasn't even on the line, like, has a guideline. There's lines on the paper for you to just write on the line. Why are the words floating above the line? Like, yo, like, I looked at him and I was just like, I went to him, Donovan, you write like a 6-year-old going on to 7. Are you okay? And I didn't cuss. I cussed him out in a joking way, like, yo, like, fam, like, is this really you? So when you're addressing envelopes, like, you're really writing like a child. And he was just like, yeah, I know, I've got terrible handwriting. I was like, Donovan, like, I'm not being funny, but do you ever think, like, wow, if I, like, you want to improve on your handwriting just for the sake of, like, it has to be clear? Because what he wrote for me wasn't clear. I actually had to rewrite, like, I had to ask him, like, say, dictate so I can write it down for myself, because that handwriting wasn't flying with me. I was just like, even if you had to write a small post-it note for your interns, you're writing like a 7-year-old, like 6 going on 7. Fam, you need to fix up. Like, let's get this on point. And I was laughing, and I thought, like, I was just joking with him and taking it like, yo. And I held that piece of paper and I said, God forbid, like, my child would never, like, at your big age, like, yo. The funniest thing is, after I said that to Donovan, I thought we were both having a laugh about it, because I was just like, anyway, like, in my head, I was just like, I'm not serious. This is not serious business anyway. So it was funny, because a couple of weeks later, I think it was a couple of months later, actually, Donovan returned to me, and he had another parcel to send. And this time he said to me, Nastassja, I want to show you something. I've been practicing my handwriting. I was like, oh, like, you actually took what I was saying serious. Like, okay. But he actually took it serious. And he was just like, after you said that to me, I mean, I did think, like, like, sure. Especially because I got clients and I have to write them notes and stuff.
Okay.
And, like, I've been working on my handwriting. And I was like, it wasn't even that. All I'm saying is, there was lines on the page, but his letters were floating above the lines. That's what was concerning me. Like, yo. And if it was just on the line and he was writing was just like a bit, whack. But it was just floating above the lines. It was just mad. And he showed me his new handwriting. And I have to say, it went from looking like a 6-year-old going on to 7 to a 9-year-old going on to 10, 11. I was really impressed. I gave him a hug. I was like, Donovan, I didn't think you were taking that shit seriously. I was laughing. And he was like, no, he said it actually highlighted something to him, and especially him going to these big clients and he's writing like this. And he was just like, yeah, I think, and then he said to me, you know what? I think people, when you said that to me, I realized that handwriting does possibly cost me something, because people look at your handwriting, and that's the first, if they've never met you, that's the first thing somebody sees, your handwriting. I mean, I'm not saying that I have impeccable handwriting, but I do have really nice handwriting, and I think that's only because my mum drilled it into me, and because the time that I went to school, everything was handwritten. So handwriting was really, really pressed upon me, that you really need really good handwriting. And I learned to write in cursive as well. I went as far on to learn how to do cursive handwriting and calligraphy and stuff like that. But that's only because I had, being artistic, that was my fascination. But yeah, I mean, bad handwriting, sometimes I do give a little side eye, like, technology's taken away bad. Like, I need to see good handwriting, but that's just me. But I'm not trying to, I don't judge people for having bad handwriting. It's you and it's not me.
Me on handwriting, you know what's funny? Many years ago, I don't write joined up on purpose. I write like individual letters, like just because of that whole.
But it's not even that. It's just making sure that it's readable and clear. And
but it's because of that, just to make sure it's clear. Because the whole joined up thing, like.
I mean, yeah, I get it. Like, I write joined up, and some people are just like, Nastassja, what have you just written here? Sometimes, but but I have like 2-3 different styles of handwriting. Just for my
different people.
No, well, it depends. Like, if I'm just doing note taking, it's going to be in capital single block letters, because it's clear. If it's something like if I'm writing a card or something very personal, it's going to be nice and joint up, because there's love and tender care in that. And I just think, like, when you see great handwriting, I have a thing, like, with handwriting. When I see great handwriting, it kind of like, it's like one of my turn-on points, like, oh, good handwriting. Not like that, but I love good handwriting.
I understand. I want to bring it slightly back.
Yeah, you can actually. I know. That was way off a tangent about good handwriting.
Yeah, so basically, what was I want to say? Yeah, cool. You said something about, before I forget, the influencers losing their likes, losing like the whole business. And
I don't think they're going to lose their business. That's the thing. I just don't think it's going to give them, I think, because the whole not seeing your likes is like, you can see how many people liked your stuff, but us as viewers can't see. All we're going to see is a picture and a heart and a comment button. I don't even know if the comments they're removing the comment section.
I don't think so.
Don't know. But it's just going to be a heart and a comment, and that's about it. And you can see how much engagement you've received with that picture. It's just that they're not just showing us as the face viewers, like this picture of this cake received 1 million views. That makes you kind of be like, what's so special about it? Because a lot of people look at certain pictures and go, why did that picture get 1 million views, but my one's, I did something on a similar line and mine's only got like 200 views. And then it's this whole thing about algorithms and we're getting deep into it. What time did you post? What was your engagement? Did you answer, did the people that have commented, have you commented back? It's all to do with engagement and stuff like that. And this is why we're all just hung up on our phones. So it's kind of just, there's a little relief of pressure of seeing somebody else's likes, but then you start to respect. I think what it's going to do is you're going to respect more of that person's hustle, if I'm being honest.
That's fair. Two things I did want to touch on though is, one, for those people that have, or as influencers, depending on these likes to, I guess,
we're all influencers. Anybody that's a part of social media, you're an influencer one way or another.
To different degrees, yes, 100%. But those who, I guess, like, depending on it, like, for everything, like their bread and butter, so to speak. Just relating it back to this article, I think what's an interesting takeaway to take away from this amount of money that they made, right? They made that 7 million in 2018, but they made that from making a product, right? So there's a lot of people that are fair enough if you're a creative and that's your thing, and perhaps business might not be your thing, but there's a lot of people wound up in getting likes for likes' sake. But you also have to, just one man's point of view, transfer those likes, that energy, whether it's the like on YouTube or it's that like on Instagram, transfer that into a container, a business that makes you money. So when they take away your likes, you'll still, you have your product, you have your service, whatever you're doing. So relating that back to food, whether it's you're doing your event, you're selling your cakes or your juice or whatever, like, it's cool posting those pictures, but you have to also remember what you're doing it for, right? The second thing I also wanted to touch on as well, last night was the fight between Logan and KSI.
Yeah, they made shitload of money after that.
Stupid money.
I'm hearing figures like 20 mil for KSI. I heard, that's just, I don't know if KSI, I don't want you to quote me on this. This is not how much I said he made, but I heard a figure and it was like what I heard from the internet, and those aren't trusted sources, I just want to say, but a figure that was been thrown around is something like 20 mil. But I don't know, it could be more, it could be less. Who knows? Boxing, everybody knows that boxing's got a huge amount of money in it.
So what's interesting about that, right, which I want to touch on and relating to this article as well, right, is we're I think right on the cusp, not even on the cusp, like I think we've arrived now, right, where YouTube has matured to a point where it's like it's taken over. It's not about the mainstream TV no more. The mainstream TV now are approaching YouTube celebs, Instagram celebs to be on these shows, right? You had like Robbie from Arsenal Fan TV going on Sky Sports. You have this fight was on Sky Sports.
Really? Yeah, I didn't know. I mean, like, I'm not a massive YouTuber, but I've known that, like, KSI really cashed in on this, like, boxing thing where I think, who was his first person that he fought over here? I can't remember. One of these next YouTubers he was beefing with. Was it Logan again? No, it was some next YouTuber. And then they actually, I thought it was a joke, but it's become serious business for KSI, and props to him because, like, let me tell you, like, just born out of a simple, I don't think he's boxed ever a day, and it was like, he's never.
Oh,
prior to him doing these boxing matches.
I'll be honest, I don't follow him like that. So I'm
okay, all right, then sure. I don't know. Like, that's me just making assumptions. Like, but I'm not sure if he'd ever boxed a day in his life, and like just that kind of transfer from, okay, I'm a gamer YouTuber. Now I'm actually doing the live gaming, and that's what it's turned into. He's been playing the games. Now he's the actual player in the games. I'm not surprised if like KSI is gonna link up with EA Sports to do a boxing game with him as one of the characters. I mean, he could listen to this podcast and take that idea and spin with it, but it will have a hell of a. I mean, I used to be, wouldn't be say like a top gamer, but I used to love playing games. I got
You a gamer?
Yeah, I got an Xbox.
Really?
Yeah. Like, dude, I went to like this event the other day, and it was old school games. Yeah.
Okay.
Like I'm the Sega Mega Drive 16-bit girl. The one with.
I saw you in your story shaming someone.
Yeah, shamelessly beat this guy like at Mortal Kombat.
Street Fighter?
It was Mortal Kombat, like literally. And I wouldn't say I'm the best at it because I haven't played games for a mad amounts of time. But I prefer journey games. So like I like the Crash Bandicoot. Me and my brother used to play a lot of journey games, like really obsessive. Like my mum hated it, but you know she's the one who bought. My auntie actually bought me my first game console when I was in primary school, and it was the Sega, the one with the built-in Alex the Kid.
The
Sega Mega Drive came afterwards. It was like the Sega with like the flap and the cartridge discs and all that stuff. So very, very good. Like literally take it back. I can play. Sure. Like I said, it was the built-in Alex the Kid game that I grew up with. So yeah, but I wouldn't be surprised if and that's a great, like another great example of KSI being a gamer, then actually being in like putting himself in the ring and being the main match. Do you get what I'm saying? Like literally he took it from being a character, like playing the characters on games, now being the character in the ring. And then I guarantee you KSI will have his own game that, you know, and all of these Logan Pauls and all of these YouTubers will be the main forefront of this game. And that's just somebody who was playing games on YouTube, people loving it, then him putting himself in the ring and him just, what can I say?
Yeah, 100%. So like on that, I was like, when you started speaking about gaming, I was like, in my head I was thinking, oh, we have to jump on like Twitch. You know Twitch?
No, I don't.
Okay, cool. So it's basically
I don't know much, you know, live apart from cake these days.
Okay, so Twitch, another like live streaming platform, but the predominantly is gaming on there. People playing games, but there's also like talk shows on the podcast. Cool. So it'd be cool to stream on that platform as well. But as you were speaking, it just occurred to me as well. Like, do you know Ninja? No. Okay, Ninja, huge gamer. Recently he did some deal with Microsoft to move him over to like Mixer because he was on Twitch as he was like, I guess their hero, if you like. But what's interesting, just hearing you speak about the game, right? Ninja, huge following. He played with Drake actually on Twitch, and there was a whole big thing about that.
I think you're the one who told me about that. Like
Yeah, so basically, but the thing is, what's interesting about what you're saying about the game, he just brought out like a comic, right? Or he's coming out with a comic, one of them. But it just shows that like, I just to bring some value to the audience, like whatever your hustle is on these social platforms, if you make a show or you make a brand, there's so many other avenues to, you know, create opportunities for yourself, you know. So yeah, use that, and hopefully that brings you some value. Yeah. Cool. So yeah, this is some heavy starters.
I know these are heavy starters. I mean, I don't have any other starter. I'm actually excited to dig into the main course.
All right, cool. Let's hit up the main course for today.
That's sugar tax. Yeah, we're talking about the sugar tax. Our main course is all about sugar. So the sugar tax. It's been a good full year without sugar in our foods, in our sugary foods. Sugar tax was introduced, just looking at my facts or just from the top of my head, on the 6th of April, 2018. And this was to, the whole concept of it was the government saying that there's too much sugar in our foods. We're going to remove the sugar, and anything that has over a certain quantity of sugar is going to be taxed. Is that correct?
Yeah. So otherwise known as the sugary drinks levy, or what do they call it?
Yeah, it's a sugar levy basically. Yeah. And to be honest, like the government says that the sugar tax or the sugar levy is going to raise, if I'm not like just thinking of the figures that I was reading earlier, 154 million, which is going to go back into the schools. It's going to go into schools and youth clubs and blah, 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 blah. When Theresa May was our dear PM, she wanted to reverse the whole sugar tax and just bin it. But it didn't really come about because I think she was too busy trying to get us out of Brexit or whatever she was doing. Who knows what she was doing, but she was doing some. And and apparently it has raised a lot of money. I don't know if this is going back in schools or not. You know, we'd need a good old politician to tell us where that money goes. And our discussion today is over does our food, because I think the whole premise of this was there's too much sugar in our foods. It's causing obesity. It's causing tooth decay. It's unhealthy for us. And it's all kind of like, let's make the world a healthier, or let's make the UK a healthier place by having no sugar in stuff, and now reverting and going into using sweeteners, and whether they're natural sweeteners or artificial sweeteners in food. So Coke is the nation's favorite drink. Well, I don't know if it's the nation's favorite drink, but it's the biggest drink globally. It rose, I think in 2018, it was 70p, the average can. Some sound effects there, yes. In 2018, the average price of a can of Coke was 70p. With the sugar levy, it rose up by 8p, which made it 78p. And the sugar levy, hurt a lot of our favorite drinks. Like one of them being Iron Brew and ginger beer and stuff like that. They've had their levies taken on them. What do I think about has the sugar tax actually made life healthier? No, I don't know if it has, but in my eyes, it hasn't. It's just made food taste really awkwardly nasty. Not nasty, I think that's just too much of a heavy word. Food doesn't taste like it should. And I don't deny as well that probably there are too much sugars in our food. In just general food, but what some people have reverted to is using sweeteners, and some of the sweeteners aren't natural sweeteners, they're artificial. And I think this is where for me it's very logical, just working in food, that artificial sweeteners are actually more damaging to you than the actual natural sugar, because sugar is actually a natural plant and it is a natural sweetener. You know what I mean? And I think that's where people for me, when it comes to the logic of the sugar tax, is like, sugar is actually a natural product, but it's being made out to be the demon in a demon or the devil in a lot of food. And I know people have said, like, when you cut sugar out your diet, you feel like just more alive and perkier, and sugar makes you, it's like just a fake, it's a sugar rush basically. You go high and low in like just a short amount of space of time, which I don't deny ever. I think for me it's a double-edged sword. I'm always going to have a double-edged sword on this, or to be honest, no, I think I'm just a sugar lover. Hence my sugar plum. But I am for not policing, but just watching the quantities of how much sugar you do take. I think there's a lot of other stuff that they put in food, aside from sugar, that make it unhealthy and which heighten the taste of sugar. Do you get what I mean? So for me, I think it's a mad policing, because, like, let me tell you, what did I have? Like, I had Ribena the other day, and sugar taxes, everything is no added sugar now. So all of the drinks, like, no added sugar. And if there is sugar in a drink, you won't see the no added sugar label, and it's a bit more pricier than the other drinks. And that's usually what I pick up. Let me tell you, I love Capri Sun. I love like the orange one, and I love strawberry Ribena in a carton. I like Ribena in a carton, not in a bottle. In the bottle, it tastes weird. I like the carton Ribenas. They taste weird. They taste, and they have this weird aftertaste, and that's my thing. When you're using artificial sugars, it's more dangerous for your body because it's something that it naturally can't grind down. But I think that's the thing that people don't really explain. The difference between artificial sugars, or sweeteners, and then the natural sweeteners and sugar kind of thing. But I believe everything in its quantity is okay for you. Yes, we do overdo it with sugar. Like there are times where I just see people, like even me growing up, I used to have like at least like 4 or 5 sugars in my coffee, which now I've gone down to like having 1 or none at all.
I just still trying to get used to like tea with no sugar. At the minute I do 2.5, 3 sugars sometimes. Like,
yeah.
I can't lie, but I know it's bad. But look, so cool. I think there's like 2 things to touch on here. I think there's one like for yourself and one for like, I guess, the society, right?
Yeah.
And I think for like me personally, I don't like the no added sugar variant of like all of these drinks. I prefer to just have, give me the original, but I will just drink less of it. Do you know what I mean? Because the other versions are just disgusting. They don't taste
nice. I don't think that I personally don't think that any healthier than the ones with sugar. Like they try and make it out like it's healthier, but I think it's more damaging because it's artificial sweeteners. It's not natural sweeteners that they're using.
So one of them, I won't remember the name of this, but I was listening to a podcast with Joe Rogan. They had a nutritionist on there who was basically describing one of these sugars, I think is in diet quote, not 100%, actually makes you prone to either retaining fat or like makes it harder for you to lose fat versus like normal sugar. Yeah. And so you think you're getting this diet drink thinking that, oh, okay, I'm being more healthier, when it's actually making it harder for you, which is interesting. I think that like, cool. So there's I made some notes.
I like the fact that you came in notes, but I mean, I'm really good at retaining information. I would like literally just read on the sugar tax. Like, if my figures are wrong, shout me out and tell me, Nastassja, your figures are mad wrong. But from what I remember.
So one thing which is interesting about the sugar tax, right? One of the things that obviously they were trying to do is promote a healthier lifestyle, right? As a consequence of which, although, look, we're here complaining that, like, these things don't taste as good and, like, cool, like, you should just eat less of it, there are people that perhaps may be undereducated about the dangers of sugar. Bless you.
I'm really sorry.
Bless you.
Thank you. Sorry, just like sneezing into mic. I didn't sneeze on Lisimba, don't worry. But I got good germs, so it's fine. No, joking. Hold on.
Bless you. It's a good thing I had my flu shot, right?
Yeah.
But at least you get it out the way now, and then you can have Christmas free with no cold or anything.
You know what? I'm just tired of having like sniffly nose. I'm just like tired of having the sniffles. But I know where this cold has come from anyway.
Okay.
Yeah, go
on. So touching on the people that may be undereducated about that, this potentially has served in helping those people by, I guess, forcing them at the point of purchase, in them having to make a decision about, okay, cool, do I spend more money for the sugary one?
Yeah.
Or do I just go for, these lower sugar ones? Because another consequence of this is that it's forced some manufacturers to amend their recipes for these drinks. And although it might not be to our liking, there are going to be a lot of people that, as a result, would just pick these options without the sugar in there. I'm not necessarily saying that it's going to work. Obviously, we need a longer time, a longer sample, just to see, okay, the purchase patterns, the purchase trends, like, is this actually working? Is this having the health benefits that we want? Because obviously this is born out of, like high diabetes, tooth decay, as you mentioned, or whatever. But these are long-term things, right?
And that's the one thing, like, they are long-term kind of conditions that you gain over time. And I think I get where, like, the government and the world are coming from in terms of it. It sounds like, I hate the word policing, that they're policing us in like in the fact of, there's too much sugar and, we want to cut out the sugar and just make it a little bit healthy, but their substitutes, the substitutes that that they're using aren't as healthy. if that makes sense. So for me, when something has been artificially, when you've artificially made something to taste like something else, why can't you just put the real thing in there, but half of the quantity of the real thing? Does that make sense? Or a quarter of the quantity of the real thing? It's like, for me, like, I used to have like 3-4 sugars in my tea, or not in my tea, in my coffee, you know, and I was just like, oh, like, this is too much sugar. Like, Nastassja's having too much sugar, because, you know, starting the day on such a high, and then by the end of the day, I'm very sluggish, you know, and especially when I went on my extreme diet, I lessened how much sugar I was having in everything. And like I say, nowadays, like, I have ups like 0 to 1, you know what I mean? But I'm still having sugar, but I've just lessened the quantity of what I'm having, but it's still a healthier option. Because one of my friends was like, why don't you just use a sweetener, get these like little sweetener tablets? And I was just like, I ain't getting no synthetic. I'm not like that little tablet that's been, you know, like, that has been manufactured. And she was like, oh no, this comes from, like, you can get ones that come from a plant and they're natural sweeteners. And I was like, they taste off. Like, I'm not being funny. They taste off, like those little tablets or the little, like, the powdery stuff. No. If I'm going to use a natural sweetener, I'll use something like honey, or I'll use, is it agave syrup instead? But I will keep in the regions of the real and use less of the real. That's what it is, because they still have good benefits for you, instead of using something that's been manufactured to taste like something else. That stuff, that does more damage to your body over time, because your body can't naturally break that down, you know. And like I say, I think there's the rule that I have is, too much of anything can be a bad thing. You know what I mean? Too much of anything is a bad thing. It's life in quantities, like life in small bites and in quantities. You know, if you're eating as much as you think, like eating like carrots like every single day from your life, you will start shitting orange, and it probably won't be healthy for you after like 5 years, because your body's going to have a reaction to something. Do you get what I mean? So everything in small doses is okay, but just watching the quantities of that realness kind of thing. That's the way that's the way I kind of live. I try and remove artificially manufactured stuff. And my angle only comes from the fact that my mom is a food scientist. So she's very kind of like, she'd rather have real sugar than the artificial sweeteners and stuff like that.
Look, I'm more or less like the same. I kind of like agree with you. I don't touch any of that artificial stuff or any like the sweeteners or anything like that. I would prefer, because like, so you know, you're mentioning earlier about like looking like 2 dumplings, right? So just to give people an insight, when we were creating like the thumbnails for like our YouTube, I sent like a picture to Nastassja of us sitting on the couch here, and she said that we looked like 2 dumplings.
No, in one of them, I was just like, before I even said that, I was like, I actually look like a walrus, like just like just on. But at the same time, obviously, because I'm like, most of the times, like after when we film this, like we've had such a heavy week, and it's just like our downtime filming this. Sure. So I'm just like mad relaxed, and I'm just like, we honestly look like 2 dumplings, like, yo. Is that me? Yeah. Is that how much you're enjoying food? It's cool. That's life, innit? You only get one life. Live it up, girl.
There you go. But as a result of that, I've been going hard in the gym, right? Hard. But I also like document and record like all the food that I eat in like my fitness pal, right? The thing that's interesting about my fitness pal is that like, it's cool to have that Snickers. It's cool to have that chocolate cake, whatever. You just find balance through in the day, right? So you have that cake, then it means that, okay, you can have less of something else. You eat more veg, or you eat more sweet potato, or you don't have the ketchup. Like, you just find balance throughout your day.
And that's what it is having a balanced diet. And I think one of the things that personally, from my perspective, the government can do much more in advertising more balanced diets. And I know they've tried to do this over the years with have the 5 a day kind of sticker on stuff, and promoting, they've taken junk food off of the TV, like no junk food promotions, and for me, there's much more you can do in terms of like advertising much more health conscious kind of stuff. And I think another thing for me is the reason why I think we live in, possibly they say this is like, we're so obese now, is a lot of the food that we eat is cheap oven food. You know what I mean? Good food is expensive.
Yeah, 100%. Like,
good food is expensive, and not everybody can afford. Like, as much as they say that the sugar tax was introduced to help people live healthier lifestyles. To be honest, like, if you notice, it's not helped me, because I'll spend that extra 8p, 20p on real Coke, because that shit that you're selling me tastes fucking disgusting. You know what I mean? It's not that we should, that you should give us no added sugar in everything and replace it with sweetness. I think that's the wrong thing to go about it. I think, for me anyway, that's the wrong way to kind of go about it. It's actually to tell people the benefits of like eating less sugar. Do you understand? Like, what's the benefits of sugar, like eating less sugar, and how you can kind of conquer that, like, for me, I don't drink fizzy drinks often. I probably have like once a week, if that. I drink more juices, but even the juices these days taste awful because of the sugar tax. But I think alongside like drinking a fizzy drink, if you were to say like drink fizzy water, and drink fizzy water, like for every fizzy drink you drink, like have like 4 glasses of water. I don't know, something like that. That's probably a really bad example anyway. That would make sense, and just show and have more information about the products in the drink. Do you get what I mean?
So okay, cool. So on that.
So having more information about good benefits, like, because I think sugar's treated like the demon. Everybody's like, sugar's bad for you, sugar's bad for you. But there are, we need sugar for energy. You know what I mean? There are benefits of sugar, but it's like, how much does your body actually need sugar and stuff like that? Because sugar is in everything. Just naturally, sugar is in everything. Sugar's in cabbage, sugar's in carrots, sugars in broccoli. Are you going to start saying that you're going to the day that they say they start manufacturing vegetables and fruits without sugar is a day I'll be like, throw away the world. Because sugar is natural, like bananas are sweetest. The sweetest point of a banana is when it's like brown.
So I'm pausing because I'm thinking I don't eat it when it's brown. So
yeah, I know, but I'm just saying okay. Just generally, like, fruits are sweeter when they're going to, like, when they're reaching what we think is end of life.
Sure.
But that's why they say the blacker the berry, the sweeter the juice.
Hey.
But I'm just saying that sugar is such a natural product. It's about really educating people on sugar. I think when people start, for me, it's like when you start policing like regular things like sugar, it's just like, sugar ain't the demon. Sugar's in everything.
So
do you get what I mean?
So okay, cool. So I just want to make a comment, and I'm gonna play a bit of devil's advocate. One thing I noticed in, like, obviously trying to be a bit more healthier now, since the whole dumpling thing, like, it is not just notice, already know, but it's stupid expensive. Like, to go get like a Sam chicken or something, you can spend like a few pounds, £3-4, something like that. To go eat healthy, like what if you want your kale or your chicken breast, you're approaching like £6-7, and if you're if you don't have it. So another one of those arguments against the whole sugar tax, when I was, I guess, looking into this and stuff, is that it's unfortunately penalizing lower income families, right?
It
meaning
is.
that they have less disposable money to spend on other things, because if they're going to still buy those sweets, if they still have those kids that want particular things, or these prices increase, that it just means they have lower less amount of money potentially to spend on healthy food, right? And just to play a bit of devil's advocate though, right? As much as both of us are saying, you know, that we agree and that, you know, we just buy the more expensive one anyway, and that I kind of agree that, you know, more could be done on the education front.
Yeah, I think when it comes to, like, sorry to cut you off. I think when it comes to food, I really, 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 one thing that my mum grew up, she grew up in Zimbabwe. That's where, you know, she fell in love with food because in growing up, going to school, they did food economics, and she learnt so much about food, and she learnt the basics of, you know, the basics of like, you know, what vegetables are what vegetables, you know. And I remember watching a program over here, and they were asking kids if they knew that potatoes make crisp. And like, I think it was like 1 out of like 10 kids knew that potatoes make crisp and chips. All of them were just like, nah, chips are just like chips.
They just come.
Yeah. And it's that, when you see that, that's when my mom is just like, what's the education system teaching children? Because the reality is, this is what the curriculum should really have. There should be a food curriculum in the education system, because that is where, when you catch kids from early and they understand the importance of the sugars, the proteins, the carbs and all of that kind of stuff, you breed healthier children and you breed healthier habits. And I know they say, oh yeah, but it's also the parents should also take responsibility of that. Oh, completely. But at the same time, I want to say that what you just said, like, most households are so, you know, squeezed in terms of what they can afford to feed their children is going to be the oven chips. They're not going to make chips from fresh. Like me growing up from home, growing up at home, if I'm being honest, yes, my mom and my grandma used to buy like oven food, but not. I always used to want oven food because that's what my friends used to eat. They'd be like, oh, we had chicken dippers. And I'd be like, I had a roast chicken. And they'd be like, you eat posh food. They'd always be like, Stash, you eat posh food. Like, your mum actually cooks food. And it's just like, like when they said I ate posh food, I was like, bruh, simple rice and chicken is. I never grew up on oven food. Like, I'm not even lying. Living with my grandma, oven food was a myth. I knew that chips came from me peeling the potatoes and me frying them on a cooker.
Sure.
Like, that's how I know, like, what, you know, even still today, like, even the other day I was doing food shopping and I was like, oh, oven chips are so easy. Like, it's just that time when if I need to go out, like, before I go out, just chuck in a few. And I was like, you know what? If I'm taking this new healthy lifestyle seriously, we're going to start buying potatoes and making our own chips, and that's what I do, like, literally. And the fact that a lot of parents, you know, because they're pressed not just in doing their food shopping and what they can afford, they're pressed in time in what they can actually go home and cook. Oven chips is convenient. Dash them in the oven, pre-done, 20 minutes, out and done. But the benefits of that, because it's been processed and manufactured, you know, it loses any kind of nutritious, and I'm not saying that chips are the most nutritious stuff, but chips that you've made yourself raw from the potato and drizzled just with a little bit of olive oil, you have control over what you're eating, the amounts of sugar levels, sugar seasoning levels and all of that. Whereas something that's been processed, freezer, you don't have any control about that. The processed food, the manufactured food. But I really do think that's where the government is actually missing its hugest point, the biggest point. It's not just that the parents are buying or the kids are going out to buy these things. It's the lack of education behind food that is really stifling the country in terms of obesity. And that's where, like, I think in a couple of episodes ago, I mentioned this, is having a healthier relationship with food.
Yeah.
that's the main point. And I think it comes down to the knowledge that we know about food and food seasonings, sugars, and all of this. Because like my mum breathes down my neck, like, sugar is in everything, regardless, naturally in everything. But it's the knowledge behind that is missing. Therefore, when you start implementing these sugar tax, it just seems like bizarre. I get it. Like, there's a lot of, there's all of these drinks that we drink. And, if you never drink water and you're drinking like Coke like 3-4 times a day, no, that's not healthy for you, But if there was a bit more education, if there was more education behind foods in the classrooms, I think we can breed a new generation of much more health conscious citizens in the world.
So
that was a long rant. So.
It's all good. To play a bit of devil's advocate though, right?
Yeah.
You could say the fact that we're having this conversation around sugar tax, that is the government's method of conveying this information. Because this may not be a conversation we have entertained 5 years ago. The fact that these companies have reformulated some of their recipes so that
it fits into the narrative of what the government wants, yeah.
And the fact that they've raised X amount of money that potentially, don't know if it will or won't, could be ring-fenced to help those with...
Yeah, but that's the thing, that they're saying that they're raising money to put back into schools and to put back into education, but is that being done right now? Cool. Like, can we see it being done right now? I think that's where, for me, that's where it doesn't start with you just implementing a tax. I think it's then going into schools. I like I said, I get they have their whole 5 a day kind of labels and blah blah blah, but when I still see kids not knowing that what a potato is, I'm still very worried.
But do you not think that do you not think that though? Okay, cool. So we don't necessarily know where the money is being diverted to, though, right? But do you not feel though that the fact that all these drinks are now lower sugar, some people potentially forced to buy
that's what you think. So I'm not saying that the drinks are not, yes, they are low in sugar, but what if they replace the sugar with? That's what I'm asking. Like, I need to know, I need to see the pack, what they've replaced that sugar with, because they've rejigged their recipe. Fine. And you said you've lowered the sugar, but what is it that you're now putting into it that gives it that awkward taste? Like, not that you're now telling me that it tastes good because it had X amount of sugar. So what's the new sugar levels that you're putting into it, or what's the new sweetener that you're using that I can Google and be like, okay, that's the sweetener that you're using?
I think, cool. So like, again, cool. I've just been doing a bit of devil's advocate, but just mixing that into like my own thoughts now. Look, I like 80-90% agree with you. The only little 10% I'm thinking about now as I'm speaking, I do feel though that like, as a result, cool. Look, we don't know what they're putting in these drinks, right? Yeah. But I think as a result or consequence of them doing all of this stuff, that is a kind of like its own marketing campaign in itself, in educating us. And what I mean by that is that I think we're having not just about this necessarily this drink. I think in general around food, and this plays a part in it as well. We're having more conversations about what goes into our body. Even if you look at like how, to be honest, I thought like the whole vegan thing was gonna be like for a while, right? Yeah, it's like it's huge. Like it's not going anywhere, right?
No, veganism is here to stay, 100%. And it's this whole new wave. It's a whole new kind of culture into food. But we'll save veganism for another episode. Sure. That's amazing. But yeah, go on.
So, but all of these trends about what we're putting into our body, I think is really different if we look at versus like what our parents were doing at a similar age. Like they might not necessarily be having those kind of conversations. Yeah. Even now, like, I don't know, like when I was growing up, like everybody smoked, right? Yeah. I personally didn't smoke, but like now it's like even some of those people don't even smoke no more. It's like we're caring so much more. And I think this, look, it's not the be all and the end all. It's not the final nail in the coffin into the sugar thing, but I think it has contributed somewhat to making some stepping stones. It's it's a step in the right direction. I'm not gonna lie. Don't get me wrong. I find it a nuisance. Yeah. In that I want the sugary stuff, and I'm capable of managing myself.
Yeah.
But I'm just looking at it from like both sides.
Yeah, I get it, because I feel like one part is like they're saying that we're being reckless in how much we're eating, but isn't it up to us how reckless we want to be with our body? But yes, I understand that there is a certain control, and they see kind of like, oh, this is the start of something new. But okay, yes, it's the start. You've taken the steps to reduce the sugar and give us an alternative. Like I'm saying, for me, it's because I want to know what the alternative is, and if the alternative is really better than what the good the original stuff was. And that's the thing for me. It's kind of like making it out like sugar is the devil. Like that's the thing that I completely don't agree with. That sugar's not the devil. It's once something you said earlier on in this episode is like with rum. Yeah, if you abuse something, like you said, like you thought you were a big man drinking that bottle of rum, but you realize that I got to respect the drink 100%. And respect the drink. And that's the same for anything. Like for me, that's how I find sugar. You need to respect it. With anything that we put in our bodies, like I said, too much of any good thing is going to be bad for you. You know what I mean? Yeah. If you eat, like, what was it? There was a story about some boy on, if we can just find it, actually, a boy who ate, was it crisp? He had a diet of chips or something crazy. Like he had a diet of just crisp and crisp and chips or something like that, and he died. I'm not sure if how true the story. Oh, it was he didn't die. A teenager left blind and deaf by a decade-long diet of sausages. Like, okay, so sorry, I just paused there. So we found the article. I was looking for the article. So it wasn't chips. It was chips actually, but it was chips and a diet of chips, crisp and sausages. So that was the other thing. So he's been left blind and deaf after living off a diet of chips, crisp and sausages. Like there is nothing wrong with crisp chips or sausages. It's just that he was eating them. That's all he ate for 10 years, a whole decade. My man is just eating chips, sausage and breakfast, lunch and dinner. Classic example. Too much of a good thing is bad for you. You can't just eat that and think, oh, I'm not going to suffer any consequences. And that's the thing for me, like having a balanced and I say this, having a balanced, healthy diet. What it is for me, having a healthier relationship with food, understanding all of the products that are being put through your body, understanding what they do to you if you eat too much of something. That is where the education comes in. And if we were teaching that more in our classrooms, like when I went to school, which is a very long time ago for some people, but imagine when I went to school like 20 years ago, that's such a big number. 20 years ago when I was in school, home economics was a thing. Like you did food technology. Some people called it home economics. Some people called it food tech. Food tech was such a big thing. And I remember when they actually stopped doing the food tech classes, I was really, really, really disappointed. And I remember that the whole school stopped doing food tech because they said it was too expensive. It was one of the most expensive classes on the curriculum and they couldn't go on with it. So imagine that my passion for food not just started from at home, it was also being topped up in school. And the thing about food tech and food economics, we learned about different vegetables, different kind of proteins, different sugars, what sugars were bad for you, what sugars were good for you, what artificial sweetness was, and all of these things. And that's where I learned my education on, all of say all of these things, not just my mum saying, oh, we don't eat this and we don't eat that. It was more the teachers actually going through all of these things and understanding that, lentils are a good substitute for like rice. You know what I mean? You don't have to have rice all the time. You can opt for lentils and all of these different kind of foods. And I remember exploring all of these different kind of vegetables, these different kinds of meats, these different kinds of, and all of drinks and all of this stuff, all of the sugars, where sugar came from, and vegetables and all of these things came from learning, doing food tech in school, and how much that I still believe that putting food tech back into schools and kids understanding the oils and the fats and all of that kind of content, because kids don't read the back of the wrapper to see how much sugar something it just because it tastes good, sweet, sugary, they're just putting it in. But once I learned all of that, I knew that like maybe eating a chocolate bar every single day before school, at lunch and after school was not a good idea. You know what I mean? And that's where I feel like, okay, you're pumping all of this money. It's great. You're removing sugars, natural good sugars from the drink and replacing it with absolutely nothing or artificial or just natural sweeteners. But how about, okay, that money that's going in, let's actually put back food tech in the classrooms. Let's actually put food tech. Why can't food tech come back into the classrooms where it's much, much needed? Because everybody needs to know everybody needs to know like what they're putting through their bodies through the education of food. Because I think us just making all of these rules and kids going, us now saying, oh, it's, you know, having these discussions, it's great. But I actually want to see food tech going back into the classrooms and the government investing in the knowledge of children and all of that, because that's where it starts from. That is exactly where it starts from.
Look, I think like education is key. The only thing I do think about though is like with education is like, do kids always listen? There's like one thing.
Look, I still know Pythagoras' theorem. So I was listening to something in school. I ain't used Pythagoras' theorem in my whole entire life, but it was embedded in me. Okay, so do kids listen? Yes, and
What's
I think
Pythagoras again?
Huh?
What was it again?
I don't know, but I just know that I just did Pythagoras' theorem, the square root of pi or whatever it is. Yeah. I ain't never used it, but I probably do use it, but don't actually realize that that's what I'm actually using. But do children listen? You're saying that, do children listen? Yes, they will. The thing is, you have to make the classroom exciting, and I'm not going to lie. I remember going through school, and some teachers just had a monotone voice, and it's just like, where's your tempo, fam? Like, give me some tempo, give me some bass, give me some falsetto up in here, change your rhythm so I'm excited about learning. I think the thing is, I think there's one structure of learning, one structure of learning doesn't suit all. And I say this because I'm a very practical person. So sometimes just like reading a textbook doesn't do it for me, because I actually need to physically do the activity to learn, to really take in the information. That may be my dyslexic part, I don't know, but like I'm just one of those people who like to actually do action and do more physical work. So even when it came to math, which like when my math teacher would write the sums on the board, that did nothing for me. I was just like lost. I was like, huh? But when you actually put it on a table and we had apples and we had colorful objects and we were moving them around, instantly understood. So learning, we all take in information differently. And I think that's another thing that schools also have to consider in their curriculum, because kids take in information differently.
So on that bit about like taking information differently, I think it depends, like for me, thinking back to like whose direction. What's wrong?
No, I'm just like,
okay.
It's refreshing.
whose direction? Okay, for our listeners listening, Nastassja was just.
Sorry, I was just taking a sip out of I didn't finish my cola, so I'm sipping on Karma Cola, and I'm just reading the label, and it says it's got organic lemon concentrate and natural vanilla flavor, and it's got natural malt extract and organic sugar.
Organic sugar. Interesting. So, okay, there's so many things I want to say. One, I'm darting around quickly while you just said that is, have you noticed like all these cans are changing the sizes to keep the price the same? They're just changing the quantity of the thing. Let
me tell you something. This whole when it comes to when the sugar tax came in, you saw bottles going from big to small. Like if you've noticed that if you buy full fat Coke, yeah, that's what I call it. I want full fat Coke, yeah. The bottle's actually smaller. but it's more expensive. So I think it's no longer a 500 ml, but 500 milliliter bottle. I think, sorry, I actually want to burp, sorry. It's the fizzy.
I'm going to be able to make a burp compilation.
I know. Burp and sneeze compilation. It's like 400 mil now. 400 milliliter, but it's more expensive. And then if you buy like the Coke Zero, it's the normal 500 bottle, but without the sugar tax. Mad, isn't it? So cans are getting smaller, same price, but the can's smaller, so you get less in it. And cartons are getting slimmer.
Yeah. Before I forget, right? Two things I wanted to say. One, when you were speaking about like the children and how they learn and things like that. For me, when I think about like when I was a teenager growing up and I think about who my North Star was, right? So, okay, cool. Yeah, I'm learning about all this stuff, like what's good for you, like the effects of alcohol, but it didn't necessarily change my decision making. Like, if you give me an exam, I can tell you what's healthy for me and what's not.
Yeah,
right?
but at least you know that. That's the thing. You've been given that information, but you choose not to do it. So you're opting out of it because even though you know that is bad for you, you're still going to do it, but you know that is bad for you. So when anything happens, they'll still know, did you know this? And you'll be like, yes, but you still opted to do it. Yes. So that's on you.
Okay, cool. But there's that. But at the same time, right, I think it also comes down to who your North Star is at the time, right? Like whoever, whether it's a celebrity, music artist, or
so are you saying that like more celebrities should show us what they eat? Therefore, they can. Celebrity has the power to influence kids into eating less sugar, and being much more healthier.
The modern day name for celebrity now is YouTube. Do you know what I mean? Or sorry, influencer. It's the same thing, right?
Yeah.
All it is that if you follow somebody that's healthy, right? All these cues that I've been speaking about.
I follow healthy people, but it don't make me. That's just, for me, I just believe that's what they want to do.
Okay, well, but like, it's cool.
I'm making life so difficult for you today.
No, but it's good because you did say earlier, like different people pick up things in different ways, right?
Yeah.
So cool. You got the people that will go to school and that's how they pick it up. Then you got the people that I guess are impressionable by who they follow, and the people that like they go home and it's like, no, this is what you're eating, like culture, So it's I think different ways of tackling it mean that we can get there in the end.
Yeah, but I definitely feel like one of the starts is actually just putting food tech classes back into school, because I to be honest, I think the whole let me get my words out today. I think the whole school system needs to be revisited and revised, because I do think that they need to put in more life skills in classrooms.
Yeah.
And I know I did something similar to that called PHSC in school. Okay. I don't know what that stands for. The like personal health. I don't know, like whatever it is called, whatever the initials stood for. But it did give me a bit more grounding in life. Like, I'm not gonna lie. Like, it did help me, because I remember them talking about PHSC, especially. Well, I remember us doing a sexual health lesson and them explaining about clinics and all of that. So it was like a massive help in that sense, that opened my eyes. Because to be honest, my parents weren't really trying to have conversations like that with me. But, school did, which was great. But I think definitely more life skills. And I think having that food integrated into school life will help. And I mean, the fact is, like, when you even look at like what kids even eat in school, I know Jamie Oliver tried to do this whole revamp of bless his cotton, bless him, and
sure.
Yeah. But no, I rate him for just trying to roll that out, healthier foods in schools. But funny enough, the other day I was actually thinking, see how you have all of these, like, you have all of these big chains, the Pret's, the Itsus, and all of that. I know that Pret gives their food away to homeless shelters, anything that's left over. But I was thinking, wouldn't it be great if we had local businesses doing an initiative with the local schools and coming in and cooking real food for the kids?
that would presuppose that these businesses are cooking real food, though.
Yeah. Like I'm talking about like restaurants, like local kind of like startups which actually cook good food. So
yeah,
restaurants that it could be like 1 week the local pizza, not like Domino's or anything, like a good local pizza restaurant goes into this one school and cooks pizzas for that, whether it's for the whole week that the kids are eating like good homemade pizzas from that restaurant, or something like that, where kids are being supplied with good food. And I'm not saying like let's cut out the cooks the cooks in the school's job, but I think what it is just learning how to have much more healthier foods in schools that's affordable for the kids. Like local Caribbean restaurants, saying, oh, we're supplying this school for a whole week with traditional Caribbean food, and just bridging that gap in terms of like food and community and giving kids healthier. Because one thing is like the reason why one of the things I really despise seeing, like, sorry to anybody who has kids, not even sorry, to be honest. One of the things that really irks me is like when I'm out in the morning and it's that school run time and I see like parents dropping off their kids and they may have one child that's still like baby, like toddler age. And this one toddler is sucking on a lollipop in the morning. And it's kind of just like, hold up. It's like 8 o'clock in the morning, fam. I'm not even looking to to drop sugar in my coffee right about now. But I'm seeing this like 8, let's just say she's 1.5. She's 1.5. And she's sucking on a lollipop and drinking. And some of the kids are drinking Coke or like a fizzy pop drink. And you're just like, do you ever think this is the reason why your kids are just wild and they're just always crying? Do you know, like sometimes I feel like parents don't, and not even parents, people don't realize that when you have too much sugar, when a child has too much sugar in the morning and they're just crying for no apparent reason, like the child won't settle, it's just because the sugars hit their head and the only way they can release is just to cry. And it's just I've always found it very bizarre. And I'm just like, why is this child chomping down on a chocolate at 8 in the morning? Because let me tell you, once that child hits the classroom, there is no information being digested into there. But it's facts, because you're excited. Your body's just excited. And by the time that child has calmed down, it's gone towards the end of the day and they're restless. And they come out of the school and they're just hella restless, and they'll probably end up going home and falling asleep. And you're like, rah, they had a long day. No, it's that sugar you gave them in the morning and it's just hit the low, and the low point is like, let me knock out. And it's just bizarre to me that's that I see some children like sucking on lollipops in the morning. It's just one of those bizarre things that I just sit there and I look at it, and in my head I'm just like shaking my head all the way. It's just crazy.
I'll be honest, it's not even something I can pretend to know about, like sugar levels in kids. Like,
but I just think it's wild. But I think there is definitely, I personally, I hope that the government, the money that they've raised from this sugar levy is going to go back into schools. And I would love to see, like I said, I'd love to see more food tech classes integrated into the schools. Some schools may already have this, but like really just nationwide, everybody, I feel like every child should go through food tech just to be aware of what food is and how to really respect the food as well. Because like you said, like you respect rum now after your experience with it, and it's the same. I think like the respect what goes through your body. Like all this food, like even me, sometimes I have to say to myself, Nastassja, you can't have a slice of cake, then have a Portuguese tart, and then have ice cream. Girl, there's always tomorrow. Calm down. Where you going? You know, I have to police myself. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, 100%. Just like, so just to go back a bit, like I love the idea of what you're saying about getting these restaurants in.
You know what? I would really
food.
love. I was thinking about that the other day, and I was like, "There's so much." We always complain about food wastage. Why aren't we just kind of like, after a certain time, your local schools, bring that food into schools at like break time, so kids can just purchase it at like a cutthroat price. You know what I mean? And I think that way as well, when we're promoting, what we're doing there is a great cycle of community innovation, of promoting good restaurants. Because, when kids have something really good, they're going to go, Mom, I had this amazing pizza. This company came into school. It's called blah, 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 blah. And the parents may be like, okay, let's try out this pizza. You know what I mean? There you have a cycle of increased sales and community awareness. And, I just think it's just such a great concept that it should be kind of tried out and rolled out. I don't know. Like, I think it's just an amazing kind of thing. And I think it also, the food wastage we don't have that food wastage kind of thing.
So, yeah, look, I agree.
I mean, that's just an idea off the top of my head, but I was thinking about that, like,
the only thing is, though, like, so it reminded me of something that happened over, I think, in Australia. A lady was sacked from, I think it's Panera Bread. I think it's a chain in the States. And basically, she made a TikTok video and she showed, like, how they make mac and cheese, which is basically, like, it's frozen and they just cut it, pour it in, and then, like, heat it up and stuff like that. And that's what came to mind when I think of, like, some of these restaurants, some of their processes, like...
not everybody cooks from scratch in a restaurant,
and not all of it is like as healthy looking as
it's made out to be.
Kind of thing.
That's true. That's a very true point. That didn't occur. Yeah.
So what might be more potentially interesting for like that kind of thing? Maybe a bit of street food.
That's street food hustle, I think, would be awesome
for schools. It would need to be at some kind of discount, but. Yeah, I think.
But I think it's an initiative that could be also funded by the government in terms of like, they want to get rid of like kids eating chicken and chips all the time. Have that kind of street food vendor kind of vibe.
Even a kid street food thing.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It's kids street food kind of vendor vibe where the council, where the government actually says to this vendor, okay, can you do like once,
What I meant is like, so get the kids...
To actually do street food?
Yeah. So almost like, instead of like a school fete, all these kids set up like as a stall, and then everybody comes down and buys food from the kids, and the kids cook it there and then. That'd be interesting. Once again, let's roll out the food economics into the classroom, because that's where it starts off. You teach one. What is it? What's that saying? Each one teach one. Something. Yeah. Like that. I'm not even gonna try and look for the. I can't remember.
What was it? Each one teach one or something like that. But anyway, whatever that saying is, if you know what the saying is, just help me out on that one. But I definitely feel like food economics, and for me, it's kind of like the birth of having that within the curriculum, and everybody knowing about like the sugars and why these taxes are coming into place, and what that's doing for the nation, the benefit of the nation. I mean, it's like the other day, one MP wants to remove like eating food on public transport because of obesity. It's just like, fam, like that. I get like eating food on a bus is not the nicest, because sometimes you're just like, yo, the amount of different fragrances that are on this bus. But at the same time, we live such busy lifestyles that some people have to eat on the go. Yeah, it's not even a choice. So that one was just like, throw that person in the bin, like for saying something like, no eating because of it promotes obesity. Really? Like, really? I think there's much more things that promote obesity than someone eating food on the bus. Like, that's ridiculous.
Yeah, no, I agree.
I mean, that,
That could be another topic. That's a whole topic.
That's a whole topic in itself. But yeah.
So, yeah.
Hold on, sorry. Before we start, this is Flavour of the Continent. Like, we just, I'm just fast up and I just want to eat in it. Like, literally, like, this is why my waistline is never going to reduce. But Flavour of the Continent this week comes from. So
it's come from Lady Pleasant, which is just around the corner. I say around the corner. It's in Soho in central London. It's a Chinese. So when I asked the lady what it is, she said it's like a Chinese breakfast that they eat. There's like spring onion in there. There's egg. It feels like a wrap. So I've got the pork one. I've got Nastassja the chicken one.
Of course.
This thing is delicious. Like, this is really, really tasty.
Yeah.
For anybody watching like on YouTube, I'm just gonna show the camera.
I'm literally just gonna. I actually will show you. From what I gather, it's actually an egg omelette kind of thing. So, what they fry an egg on a massive pan. Am I correct?
Yeah. You're right.
And
it's like this like hot plate kind of pan kind of thing. So they crack the egg. Sorry, they crack like this mix batter.
Yeah.
Then they put like an egg on it.
Okay.
And then they.
It's like a pancake kind of batter, isn't it?
Yeah. That's what it looks like.
It looks that. Yeah. That's what it looks like.
But
I'm
this
gonna
thing-
call it a pancake like or a crepe like batter.
Yeah.
Really kind
But
of thin.
it's savory.
Yeah.
And then they put like this thing in it. It's like a hard, like
The
crispy,
symbol will explain the rest.
like kind of. I don't know how to describe it. It's like there's a bit of ginger in there. There's a bit, but it's got like a crunch. I don't know what the crunch is, but this thing is amazing. Like, it's really, really, really tasty, Moorish. Like, I could probably eat like 3 of these. Nastassja is silent. What I'm gonna do.
You know when food is good. Sorry, I just like touch my hair, but this is me eating anyway. You know when food is good. I'm one of those people who are silent. I will literally just munch, and I will explain, like literally, after. That's how you know when I'm like smacking my gums. Like, I'm telling you, shit be real good. Like literally.
So just like a word of warning, basically on a Sunday anyway, they close from 4 until 5. They take a little break.
Oh, okay, so that's why they weren't open.
Yeah. So we tried to feature these guys before, but they were closed. Well, she said that they closed between 4 and 5. I know the last time we went there, because I checked like the WhatsApp message that I sent to you, it was actually around 3. So maybe they took an early break, but... Yeah, because that really annoyed me. I was so looking forward to this, and they just weren't open. So, but here we have it. I'm going to take a bite of this pork one now.
It's really good. It's actually, correction, it's called Pleasant Lady Trading.
What did I say?
Lady Pleasant.
Is that what I said?
Yeah. It's called Pleasant Lady Trading. Really, really, really good. Lisimba showed me this. He put me onto this. Like, he was just like, let's go to the hole in the wall around the corner. I was like, a hole in the wall that sells food around here? He got one week. That week, I just had McDonald's. And I watched him eat this wrap here. And when I say I just wanted to take a bite of his, but the problem was his one had pork in it. And I was like, no, Haram, it's cool. I'll get my chicken one on a later date. So, yeah, it's really good. I'm smacking my gum because it honestly... one of the best wraps ever. In terms of price, I think it's about $6.50. Is that?
You know what? Let me
I think it's round about that. Actually, not even $6.50. I think it's like more around £8 a wrap. I think, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay, so basically, original one with just vegetables is £6, and then you can add pork for £1.80. That would make it $7.80. And then you got chicken. You can add chicken for just £1, so that'll make it £7. And yeah, they've got drinks as well, which are £2 each for soft drinks.
Honestly, so good. I know, like, if you're listening on a podcast, you're just like, I went in on the action. And if you're watching from the YouTube, it's good. It's good. It's really, really good. I ain't complaining today. I ain't complaining.
Now we're setting levels, you know, because in future, like, we have to up the game. Like, every time we bring new food, like, it has to be better and better, or at least on par, right? Sorry, guys, I have to eat this. I'm so hungry.
And I know we've been just like To be honest, on today's like episode, I've actually been wanting to get to the eating part so hard. I've just been like, I just want to get to the flavor of the continent, which is real good. I can't complain. Can I introduce the other flavor of the continent? Well, we kind of got two this week. Once again, this is Lisimba's choice. It's called Karma Tops, and is it Karma Tops? Oh, Karma Tops. It's called Karma Cola. Like, the cola was written upside down, and I did think, is that Tops? Like, Karma, it's called Karma Cola. That's really bad. Like,
I've had the pleasure of tasting this before. Really, 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 really nice. Very refreshing. It's not, as sweet as like a Coca-Cola, but this, as I understand, is like derived from like the natural like cola nut.
Mm-hmm.
Really, really tasty. I really, really like it. I'd be curious to know your impression or your thoughts or your reaction.
Yeah.
So. You want me to open it for you?
I was going to say, I'm going to take this one, thanks.
It's all good. All right, cheers.
All right. I actually quite like... No. It's so weird when people wait for a reaction from me. They're like, it's like that anticipation. Is she gonna like it? Is she gonna like it? Like, honestly, like, no, really good actually. It's not. It's like.
That's interesting.
This is
yeah,
not. This is not a bad description.
Okay.
This is just. This is just for some. So, like, what I'm gonna say is just an easy way to. If somebody wants kind of like a close enough description of how it tastes before you go out and purchase it yourself. Basically, it tastes like flat Coca-Cola, but nicer. So it's Coca-Cola without that intense fizz. You know what it actually really, really tastes like? I just had a nostalgic moment with that, actually. I don't know, back in the day, when you went to primary school or secondary school, did you ever buy Panda Pops? That's what that tastes like.
It tastes like Panda Pop to you?
It tastes like Panda Pop Cola.
Okay.
But that's not a bad thing. Like, Panda Pop Cola was actually really nice. But I just think that's just my nostalgia. I just had a nostalgic moment.
I
think it's really, like, honestly, it's really nice, but it's just Coke without that heavy kind of like mad fizz. It's just like a really smooth cola, and that's what it is. Karma Cola, just really nice and smooth, and it doesn't taste. And we're talking about sugar tax. It doesn't taste off. You know what I mean? Like, drinks without like normal drinks these days taste like they've got a little kind of like, I don't know if it's a bitterness, but I always say it kind of cuts my throat. Like, it's got this weird kind of like aftertaste kind of thing, and this doesn't have that. So I really like it.
So, when you just said Panda Pop,
this would be good with like, sorry to cut you off. This would be good with like a nice cognac. Like, it would go well with like a Courvoisier or a rum.
I can imagine this with rum.
With rum. That's my drink right there. That's a good mixer for a rum. That's for the adult. Like, I'm just saying, innit? If anybody, I'm just giving my opinion. I'm not a great mixer, but that tastes like it would go good with a nice dark rum. That's a good one.
When you just said Panda Pop, that just reminded me. You know when you have those, what do you call those freezer pop things?
Ice balls.
Ice balls? No, like the freezer things that you stick in the freezer and they're like sticks, but they're long tubes and you like...
Yeah, ice poles.
You call them ice poles? Ice poles? I never called them ice poles. I call them like freezer pops or something like that.
whichever region that
cool.
you grew up with, like
Sure.
maybe that's the maybe that's the zim in me that calls it ice poles.
Okay.
I'm sure growing up we called them ice poles.
But that it reminded me of, when you get like the Coke flavor of that, and then you let it melt, and then you drink it, but it tastes richer than that. But that kind of. Do you a fizzy Coke or flat Coke person?
I like a fizzy Coke, but my favorite Coke is like cherry Coke. I love cherry cola, but since that sugar tax hit, that cherry cola has been hitting kind of differently. So it's very hard for me to find like the full fat version of it. I love a good cherry cola. But my all-time favorite drink is Fanta Grape. But not the British version, the African version. Yeah. The one you find in, I think it's Sparletta. So in Southern Africa, I think, I don't know if Sparletta's across Africa, I don't know. But the one that I like is the Sparletta version of grape, fizzy grape. That one bangs. These European ones, they don't taste like grape.
So I was lucky enough at some point in time to go to the Coke factory. It's more, I think, Coke Museum. Basically, there's a place in Atlanta, I think it's called the Coke Museum, where just before you leave, there's this like room, and they got all the different flavors that they make from all around the world. It was really interesting. You can taste the same drink from different parts of the world, and it tastes different. It's just interesting how they tweak it depending on the region and like the different drinks that are available. That's really interesting. So I recommend anybody like traveling to Atlanta, or maybe if you're there, like going and checking that out.
What I would say is, I do prefer Coke in Africa. African Coke tastes much better than European Coke or UK Coke. Let me get my words out. UK Coke tastes different from European Coke, and European Coke tastes different from African Coke. I prefer African Coke. I even prefer my favorite Fanta. Nothing can beat an African Fanta. The one that's straight from the bottle. Jeez, now that one, African Fanta. Fanta here, I don't know what they do to that recipe over here, but it's just wild. It's just wild.
No, I agree. They do like a nice Fanta lemon over there, like in the bottle, that tastes like nice, really, really. And especially, it tastes nice when it's nice and hot. Have you had Alvaro before?
No.
Okay, so Alvaro is kind of like a malt drink, but when you have that cold with like some ice, that's just like
it hits different.
Yeah, but yeah, those bottle drinks are a lot better, 100%.
I have to say, that Pleasant Lady shit that hit the spot. I'm ready. I'm set. I'm good. This episode has been nice. What can I say?
It did. It hit the spot actually.
No, honestly, I can see what you're saying. I could probably not gonna lie, I could do another one of those easy.
100%.
Easy. Probably I'd struggle halfway through, but definitely I could do another one of those.
I think that.
It wraps up. Just one thing quickly.
Sure.
Yeah, like I went to. I know, like I was meant to say this in the beginning, but like I talk so much I forget. But I went to the Hackney Gelato.
Okay, cool.
Well, I didn't go there. I was in Swingers, and if anybody's been to Swingers is a
just to clarify.
Yeah, just to clarify what Swingers is, like before someone's just like Stasha goes to Swingers parties, like what? Swingers is crazy golf, and they've got locations all across London. Really fun, actually. I quite like it. I'm into sports. I'm into one of my favorite sports is darts and curling. You
like curling?
Fam,
I've always wanted to try it.
You know what? Curling is like, it's a mathematician's game, innit?
Okay.
You have to honestly, when I watched a documentary on curling, and how they measure the ratio. Honestly, the things, the maths that's going through people's minds.
It's funny, in the Olympics, I watched curling and the one on the ice where they...
That is curling.
Is it the same thing?
Yeah, the one that they're rubbing the floor, sweeping the floor.
So what's the one when you throw the thing? When you throw... Oh, is that bowls?
What, on grass?
Yeah.
Yeah, grass is bowls where you have to knock the ball out of...
Yeah.
Yeah, no, bowls is a bit... That one's for old people. That's for old people. No, that's for a certain mature age. That's one. But curling, the one on ice. Where they've got the broomsticks and they have to sweep it. Yeah, mad mathematics. I watched a documentary on it, then I got into it like mad. But yeah, swingers is golf, crazy golf. Actually really, really had fun. Like me and my left-handed self, like did some bizarre things last night, but you know, balls flying everywhere. But they had... Hackney Gelato is in the venue. They've got a lot of like little food eateries in there, and I've seen Hackney Gelato around, and I was actually really excited to try their gelato. I am like, you know, anything, we're talking about sugar tax today, anything sweet, it's right up my street. What flavors? So the flavors that I tried yesterday, I had salted caramel. I have to put this as a disclaimer. I actually don't like chocolate. I don't like chocolate flavored things.
Okay.
If that makes sense. Like chocolate cake and brownies, I'll only eat my own. Like I've tasted chocolate cake out there. It's not, yeah. It has to be real. When it's chocolate, like chocolate stuff for me, has to be proper, pure, rich chocolate.
Okay.
In saying that, I really want to go to Dark Sugars in Brick Lane.
Have you been? No, you've never ever been?
No, I haven't.
Really?
Okay, so
good.
we have to like feature Dark Sugars. Like we have to go to Dark Sugars. So I had salted caramel, their dark chocolate ice cream, cherry bakewell, and pistachio with lemon. Let me tell you something.
It's good.
Their chocolate ice cream, throwaway Häagen-Dazs, man. Right? Their chocolate ice cream banged. Sorry, like that was my favorite one out of all of them. Actually, I did like the pistachio one. I like I love the citrus connotations that came after the pistachio. I thought that was very clever because sometimes when you eat a lot of pistachio, it kind of just, the flavor just disappears. You don't taste any pistachio anymore. But with that citrus connotation at the end, I thought that was a very clever, that one's very clever. Love that one as well. But to top it off, the chocolate one banged. The salted caramel, actually, I love anything salted caramel. That one was a bit too sweet. For me, it just needed a little bit more sugar on top. Not sugar, salt, just to level out the sweetness. But the chocolate one, my God. So if you want to try any good ice cream out there and very local, the Hackney Gelato Company, amazing chocolate. The pistachio and lemon was great. Cherry well baked, if I'm being honest, I didn't really get the full taste of that one because it kind of had melted before I got to it. But I definitely, my top two flavors from them, the chocolate one, hella yes. Pistachio and lemon with that lemon connotation. Yes. Yes.
I know they got a branch in the food court not too far from here. Is it 7 Dials?
Yeah, so they got one in 7 Dials, and there's somewhere else that I saw them as well, but I can't remember where it was.
So yeah, I'll have to check them out.
So yeah, I know we've already done our flavor of the continent. We didn't want to put that in the flavor of continent actually, because I wanted you to try it.
Oh, okay.
But obviously I tried it before you, so obviously no. It wasn't going to happen.
It's one of those Nastassja not wanting to share it.
No, it wasn't. It was, I was out and I just wanted to mention that because I just wanted to say how good it was because I really, really did enjoy the chocolate ice cream.
Cool. But yeah, maybe I'll grab some and then...
Yeah, grab some and let me know like
100%.
how it is. But yeah, I think that wraps up today's show.
Yes. Question of the day. I want to ask you guys, what do you guys think of the sugar tax? Do you think it's a good idea? Do you think it's a bad idea? Like, how has it affected your purchase decisions? Do you buy the more expensive one or not?
I know what I do. There's some things that I just know just taste better. And then these hybrid things aren't as good.
Nah, I'm more or less the same. Yeah, I just pay more. Like, it's the tax, you just pay.
I think it's also another money-making scheme from the government, because they know the people are still going to want the original taste, not the hybrid.
Well, there you have it. Well, thank you guys for listening to another episode of Juice and the Sauce. Don't forget to follow us on all the social channels. So we're over on SoundCloud, which is Juice_and_the Sauce. We're over on YouTube as well. Just search for Juice and the Sauce. Juice and the Sauce. We're on Instagram, Juice_and_the Sauce. Facebook as well, just Juice and the Sauce, all one word. Twitter, Juice Sauce Pod. And we're also on TikTok. Okay, we're on TikTok, but the content on there is coming real soon. So.
Okay, yeah. Lisimba's giving you all of the details of where we are. I'm just like, wow, he got all of that in. But yeah, I hope you enjoy this episode, and we're going to see you on the flip side.
Yeah. Oh, yes, please. And if you are listening to this on iTunes or anything like that, like, leave a comment. Let us know what you think. If you're watching over on YouTube as well, just let us know what you think, or what type of content you would like to see more of in the future.
I just want to add to that. We're still in the stages of, we're literally, for us, this is like experimental stages, and we're still kind of like, we're open to anything and everything.
100%.
This is, it's just really exciting to really start something new and really just kind of like expand on it and once we get our formula, roll it kind of out. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed another episode.
Yeah, thanks guys for listening, and see you guys in the next episode.
Bye.